Get 'em Jimmy, where low shack at. The bottles getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated public sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call it truth. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, November 9th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Feels like I'm not here enough on Betting with the Bag. A lot of focus on horses last week, and then all my attention over the last 36 or so hours was all NFL. We only had 2 shows because of the horses last week, just Wednesday and Thursday, so feels like we're not getting enough time working together across the board on all sports. And I'm happy to be back with you guys. Great to see all of you. Truth Teller in the house says, went on hiatus to pay off my mortgage, but I'm back now. I'm better than ever. Respect. There's Ryan Mueller in the house. What up, Ryan? A Viper MB, B-Lab 69, Spenny, Penny Bombs, Andrew G, AJ 1337 says, what up, Pub fam? Let's go Canucks. Robert Franklin, ready to go. It's great to see all of you guys. Fanatical Jim. We have 4 NHL games that we're going to open up with. We're going to attack them. Then we have Darryl Rice, a.k.a. it's Darryl, joining us for NBA. Looking forward to cap with him. He had a spectacular season last year. He's gotten off to a rough start on his own action. He's only been with us for 1 day, so this will be the second day he'll be back with us. But we all know what he did over a big sample size. I can't wait to work with him. And then we go into college football, and our college football season has been very good. It's been very, very good. A smaller sample size. And there will be no NCAA basketball today. The card is pretty meek. But there will be as we move forward, and we'll have different experts come on, and I will be capping it as well. So we will have... There are some better games on tomorrow's card. I tried to pull something out of the games today, and I was like, I just kind of forcing it there with this pretty weak schedule. But if you're an NCAA capper, it isn't a weak schedule. There's angles to be made, and we are rolling here at Pub Sports Radio at 5 p.m. Eastern. Connor Mack and Dabby Cab will be joining Connor Mack today to break down at least all of the main games, because I believe there's 7 of them. Von Polo in the house there is Slatsy, says Habs Canucks are squaring off. Demko 1.98 goals against, having a 3-game winning streak versus the Habs. And Matty Ice says prayers to Mike A.K. Nutflush and his father. Stay low bag strong. The surgery was a success yesterday. It was a success. And, Nutflush dad's fighter. And he's fighting. He's fighting. So it was great that we all sent our positive energy and our prayers and all of our healing. Everything that we did is important. It's important to know that people care and that people are fighting for you. And that's what's up. So he's healthy. There's Matty Ice says 11-3 NCAA start. We'll have a taint play today for the chat. I'd love to get Matty Ice right here on our show if he can do that. I need to talk with him, but we need more Matty Ice in our life. And Matty Ice says fight. It's what we do is fight. And there's Lucas Ryan in the house. Says big love to the Nutflush family. Certainly feels like when anybody goes through tough times that we're here and we're supporting, and it's really nice to know. It's nice to know that you got friends that have your back, and that's what we have here. Danzo says, how you living? Danzo, it's been a grind, man. I have not been sitting back enjoying life. I've been grinding. Mike M says, hammer that Arizona game yesterday. Sabres should not be minus 200 favorites. Push the pimp slap play of the day. Sorry I've been behind on other people's action, Mikey. Sorry I haven't been retweeting your stuff. I've just been heavy on the grind, capping. This is a wonderful time. No bitching, no whining. Cappers should not whine this time of year because the work is extra hard. We're thankful that we have all this work to do. Let's get right to work, though. Let's get right into NHL. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Carolina Hurricanes, 8-3-1, 5-1-1 on the road. At the Florida Panthers, 7-5-1, 3-0-1 at home. We're at Florida Live Arena in Sunrise, Florida. I don't think Freddie Anderson is going to be in between the pipes. I mean, he's listed at a bunch of sites, but he got hurt in practice. We're not sure the extent of the injury. It kind of came to it as a surprise to Brind'Amour. I don't know if Brind'Amour had stopped coaching at that point or what, but it doesn't look like Freddie Anderson. I don't expect Freddie Anderson to be between the pipes. There's the sweaty butcher ready to go. Danzo says those Vegas Golden Knights are no joke. Short-handed goal to tie the game last night. The Golden Knights are the best team in the NHL right now. We'll see if that continues, but they sure look awesome. Slatsy says tropical storm warning in Florida, but game is still going on. Antti Ranta is who I expect to be in between the pipes. And yes, AJ Tkachuk is serving the second game of his suspension. But the goaltending is to start, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think that there's a big difference between Freddie Anderson and Antti Ranta. There's Jay Peasy in the house. What up, Jay Peasy? Big Daddy Boom says, cue up the Mighty Kraken song. Go Crack Go. Yeah, they're playing at an elite level. It's, I love Ron Francis. I think he's a smart guy, and everybody was very disappointed in their first season. It's nice to see them step up. Sergei Bobrovsky on the other side is not being good either. Andrew G says, I'm taking the Canes here, hoping the cream rises to the top. Carolina power play at 19.2%, penalty killing at 77.8%. Florida power play at 13%. It's improving, starting to get a little better. Penalty killing at 73.5%. Let's go into the line history and the cash quickly, but the main thing here is Reinhart and Bennett have struggled. I mean, it's surprised me how they've struggled. One of the reasons why we thought moving on from Huberdeau and bringing in Tkachuk to have more toughness, that there'd still be a ton of scoring because of Sam Reinhart. And he's gotten off to a very, very slow start. Let's go start with the line history here, as well as look at this. Not up now. I got everything off. My computer was acting up a little bit, so I turned everything off. So let's just get back up here with the line history and sports insights. And here we go. Okay, so first off, with the line history side of things, Penny Bomb's already given us an idea of what's happened in this market. Move over here. So with Pinnacle, we'll use Pinnacle as our opening line. Pinnacle opened this up with Carolina plus 106. They're now minus 105. So there's been a big move towards the Hurricanes. Hurricanes opening up minus 119 and now minus 105. From a total side of things, this opened up minus 121 to the over 6.5. And it got to 7. It went to 7. It was a heavily juiced 7 towards the under. So maybe it was a real 6.5, but you can get the 6.5 under 6.5 at plus money, or you can get the over 7 at plus money. It's your choice. And I do think that you should fight for the plus money. Fab win moving on. San Diego at minus 3.5. Let's quickly move over there. And San Diego at home to Florida Gulf Coast. That line's just become available for people to bet. I'll copy and paste that. Thank you for sharing that with us. Fap. Move that up here. All right. So let's take a look at the cash flow then in this one. Imagine that the money is being placed on Carolina, and it has 80% of the ticket, 76% of the cash is on Carolina. 71% of the ticket, 69% of cash is on the over. Carolina had their 4-game winning streak snapped, their 3-1 loss at home versus the Leafs on Sunday. Martin Necas has been awesome. He's taken the next step in his career. 7 goals, 10 assists, 17 points in 12 games. Brent Burns had a strong start to his new club. 2 goals, 7 assists. Andre Cachet is close to returning from his concussion, and Max Pacioretty is out long-term. For the Panthers, they finished up their 4-game Western swing 2-2 with a 5-3 win at Anaheim. Tkachuk, as we said, serving the second game of his suspension. He has been the straw that stirs the drink, though. 5 goals, 12 assists. He has 17 points in 12 games. He's very, very good. DC Capper cash last night with Arizona. I love seeing that. There's Lucci Melo ready to eat. Alex Hills. Rob Freese is after yesterday. The Rangers finally made me hit the not bet list. Do not bet list. Wow. Ruined the 5K16 parlay. Damn. I don't like hearing that. Brandon Montour has been very good with Ekblad out. I mean, I can understand people wanting to bet Carolina. You have Florida returning from a Western swing. They don't have their best four. Well, it's arguable because Barkov. But Barkov's got off to a slow start without his running mate. Barkov, 2 goals, 8 assists in 13 games. Patrick Hornqvist also close to returning, and so is Ekblad. And we know that Anthony Duclair is out long-term. I could understand backing the Hurricanes here. They've been excellent on the road, 5-1-1. But Florida's very good at home, 3-0-1. But you're taking the top defenseman and the top forward off of Florida, and then you're bringing them back from a Western swing. And you have a Hurricanes team that lost at home to the Leafs on Sunday. They've had a couple days off. I can understand why the Hurricanes are being looked at here. And I don't think it matters if it's Antti Raanta. Antti Raanta really has better numbers than Freddie Anderson right now. So I guess with all that being said, I agree with the market move. And then the question is, do you want to fade Florida at home where they've not lost in regulation? Dav Fenn says, looks like the Panthers' only game of the week. Dav Fenn, you saved my Monday night, man, with the Warriors live money line at plus 170. Thank you. I was thinking about you. I was in. You saved all all the mistakes I made on Monday night went away because of the great Dav Fenn. Thank you. Rodney Barton, ready to get to work. Great to see you, my man. So that was a good one, Dav Fenn. Thank you. I guess with all of this, and Slatty saying Ekblad expected to be back Saturday. Osby saying Florida not looking good at all. I guess Carolina is the play here. I guess that you can put enough. The question is, do you feel like this is the proper risk and reward to fade the Panthers at home? That's what you have to ask yourself. And Carolina coming in off a loss, I guess it is. I wasn't sure if it was, but I guess it is. The more I sit with it, I think it probably is. They had that 4-game winning streak. So I think it is. And then we can decide as the Panthers have Ekblad and Tkachuk back on Saturday if they're an auto bet. That Fence says it's a coin toss. Let's move on past this game, and we'll come back and touch on it again. But that is the question. Do you believe that you're getting the proper risk reward fading a Panthers team that's undefeated in regulation at home at Florida Live Arena? I don't know. I guess I can't quite answer that at this point. It's one thing to give it out as a pick. It's another thing to bet it. And, we don't just give out picks here. So the one thing I like is the fact that the Leafs beat them 3-1 at home on Sunday. That's good. But let's move on. I'm close to it. Let's see if there's other action here. I've not bet anything thus far. Let's move on to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Vancouver Canucks 4-6-3, 2-3-2 on the road at the Montreal Canadiens, 6-6-1, 3-3-0 at home at the Bell Center, Montreal, Quebec. I like that they saved Thatcher Demko for an opportunity to play in the Bell Center. Anytime you get to play against the Canadiens in Montreal, it's a special opportunity for a hockey player. Sam Montembeault listed on the other side. I don't know if he will be in the lineup or be in between the pipes, but he's expected at this point. 2-1-1, 2.47 goals against average, 928 save percentage. He's been very good. He certainly is taking things to the next level. They are my team, Daffin. Rob Free says I need plus money betting against Florida home. That's completely legitimate, Rob. That's the question, whether it's worth it or not. Vancouver power play is very good. We knew they were going to be. Their top 6 forwards are very good. It's their defense that is their weakness. Power play at 28.3%, penalty killing at 60.5%. I mean, that's atrocious. Montreal power play at 14.7%, penalty killing at 80.9%. Let's jump into the line history of this one. This is going to be a fun game. A lot of speed out on the ice. The Canucks open up at minus 138. They're now minus 150, a 12-cent move towards them. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 6.5, juice to the over. It's still there. Sorry, and I hate to go back to this game again with Carolina, Florida. But these offenses are not that strong, and Kachuk's not going to be out there. I wonder if that's just far too high of a total. 6.5. You're going to get plus money to go under 6.5. Carolina doesn't play in shootouts. They just played the Leafs, a high-flying offensive team, and there was 4 goals scored in that game. And I don't know why I didn't end up getting there, and I guess just sitting with it for a little bit longer. And I know we want to move on, and we got to move on. We do have 16 minutes left for NHL before we get into NBA. So I just want to go back to it here just very, very quickly. The Hurricanes, 5-3 against Buffalo at home, 4-3. So back-to-back overs for them. And I guess they've had 3 overs in their last 5 games. All right, maybe. I mean, if Carolina was at home, I would think that the under would be in play. Nice, Latsy. I'm in second place. I'm way ahead of third place, but first place is way ahead of me right now. And I got Kuzmenko late. Drug Monkey RX says, I like the Knucks today. Okay, so let's go back. I apologize for taking off there. Let's take a look at where the cash lies in this one. We have 21,000. Excuse me. I wish we had 21,000. That would be a good old 2,131 tickets in. There is line value here, 25% line value on the Vancouver Canucks. But the bigger bets have come in on the Habs, 37% of the tickets, 65% of cash. Then 52% of tickets, 74% of cash on the over. You don't win road games by the way the Canucks are set up. And I know that they've been decent on the road so far. But not being able to keep the puck out of your net is not how you do it. Both teams are on the second half of a back-to-back. The Canucks beat the Senators 6-4 at Ottawa last night. Second win in 3 games. Bo Horvat scored twice. Spencer Martin made 37 saves. Clearly, the Canucks have so much firepower. And finally, we have a line for Elias Pettersson. This is the line with Kuzmenko and Mikheyev. 6 goals and 11 assists and 17 points. Bo Horvat is going to get a huge contract. And sadly, it looks like he's not going to get it in Vancouver. I just don't see how they could put up $7.1 million and an 8-year contract up on their books right now. But he's making the most of this contract year. 12 goals in 13 games for Bo Horvat. 12 goals, 4 assists. The Habs snapped their 30-game losing streak with a 3-2 shutout victory at Detroit last night. That top 3, that opening line of Caulfield, Suzuki, and Kirby Dach looks very good. But Matheson out until early December. Paul Byron could be back tonight. Montembeault, 9 goals against 2 losses versus Canucks. And Montembeault played last night. Why? Slatsy, could they really go back to him today? I just find that so difficult to believe that they would risk a young goalie like that. I don't. Let's just see what he had to do last night in that game. I mean, it was Jake Allen. Sorry, it wasn't Montembeault. Jake Allen made 43 saves, so it is Montembeault for sure. Okay, yeah, Allen last night. Thank you, Slatsy. So, we talk about risk reward so often. Yeah, I think the Canucks can go into Montreal and beat them, but this team is not set up to win road hockey games. And I don't want them here. I'm certainly not going to take the Canadiens. But do you really want to be here on a minus 150 favorite on a Canucks team that's won 4 out of 13 games in regulation? Slatsy says has to be some goals here. Let's go back to what that total has done. Us juice to the over 6.5. Yeah, there has to be some goals here, but Montembeault is playing excellently. And when is Thatcher Demko going to step up? Because he's going to be a good goaltender this year, even though his defense is putrid. I feel like a Canucks fan, Noli knows. I feel like a Canucks fan, which is basically means you're a loser. That's all we know. All we know is losing as a Canucks fan. So, with all that being said, I would prefer taking the Hurricanes because that's a team that knows how to win on the road. You're not going to win 6-4 hockey games on the road every night. You're not going to. You're going to have a losing record on the road. I think the Canucks are a better hockey team than Montreal. What's that saying? I mean, it's not saying much. It's not saying much. So, I hear you, Lucas, but it did get better for you guys. It did get better. It's been a rough stretch for you guys right now. God, 8 straight losses. Wild. Arthur Meade Jr. in the house. So, look, if I wanted action, I could easily be sitting here with the Hurricanes, the Canucks -1. Arthur Meade Jr. like in Vancouver team total over. Slatsy saying, I love 6-4 hockey games when the Canucks are involved. Look, it's fun to watch. Osby says, don't we fade teams coming home after a road trip? Yeah, we do. The question is, a team that's not lost in regulation in their building. We remember what they did last year. I do. I think that I'm much closer to the Hurricanes than I am the Canucks. So let's move on. Because I think I will move on this next game. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-6-2, just 1-5-1 on the road at the Washington Capitals, 6-6-2, 4-2-1 at home at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Tristan Jarry going up against Darcy Kemper. Jarry's not been good this year, 4-3-1, 3.3 goals against average, 903 save percentage. Kemper has been good. Again, I really don't believe it will last, but 2.42 goals against average, 919 save percentage. There's Clint, started Die Hard MMA podcast in the house. Andrew G says Penguins, and I'm close. Let's see if we finish off and make the move on them. Pittsburgh power play at 20%, penalty killing at 73.2%. Washington power play at 27.1%, penalty killing at 81%. Let's go over to the line history here in the Penguins Capitals. Here we have a 12-cent move to the Pittsburgh Penguins. I completely agree with this move. From a total standpoint, it opened 6.5, juice to the over. It's now juice to the under. There was a time, Eric Swiatek says he's on the Penguins, same with Spenny Pennybombs. There was a time, and Remo said just watch the Kane injury from last night. I don't like, there's a couple fears that hockey players have, and we all remember the Clint Malarchuk situation and the accompanying documentary that came with it years later. I do not want to watch what happened to Kane last night, and I'm not a Kane fan, but you never want to see or hear anything like that. So I hope Kane can recover quickly, and I hope this is just a nasty thing. So I hope thoughts are with Kane for sure. Arthur Meade Jr., thank you so much. He says like the Hurricanes over. Oh, no, he likes the Hurricanes over in the Washington game and Minnesota Wild game under from Arthur Meade Jr. I will copy paste that. Christopher Commentini says Pens fade material. The Clint Malarchuk situation will never, ever leave my head. I can imagine. I'm seeing it right now. I don't like those things. I don't like to have that in my head. So I'm not going to watch it, Rem. But all right. Slatsy says Pens have allowed 3.67 goals per game and 33 in the last 7. They are horrid defensively, leaning over. Let's break this down a little more here. Oh, and back in the day, though, that's what I was starting to get to. I love betting unders when Washington and Pittsburgh played. And my ROI really wasn't that good. It wasn't bad, but I always felt like it was a playoff type atmosphere. And I was always sort of surprised, even with the firepower on the ice, to see goals. So we see the market move towards the Penguins and towards the under. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. You have 62% of the money line tickets on Pittsburgh and 42% of the cash. One thing that I don't want is to find the appeal of these road hockey teams. I don't want. And I do not want to sit here with road favorites. But it's a small card and we're trying to make money. So let's just not worry too much about that at this point. On the total side of things, we have, as I said, 72% of tickets, 89% cash on the over. That's wild. I mean, in the Habs game, you have 53% tickets, 74% cash on the over. Penguins coming off their 7th straight loss, 3-2 at home to Seattle on Saturday night, and they're a well-rested group. They're a well-rested group, an angry, well-rested group. So when Pittsburgh had lost 5 straight games, and they'd had that comeback, they allowed the 4 goals against, it was Vegas? I can't remember who did it, but 4 goals in the last 28 minutes of a game to lose that game. I thought they were going to come in really strong into Buffalo. I was on them first period. They were up 1-0 in the first period. In that game, Crosby went -4. He was a -4 in that hockey game. I was shocked. Then they come back and lose their 7th straight game. And Crosby's just a -1 on the year. They could get Jeff Carter back for this, which would help, which would make them almost whole. Chris Letang, I've been trashing his contract, and I'll continue to do that. It's going to be the worst contract in the NHL. It's a -7 through 11 games to start off the contract. I cannot believe that they signed him for that. Res Mob in the house. Stimmy OG says he's on the Hurricanes. Slatsy on Ovi plus money to score. It was Boston. Thank you, Christopher. Yes, of course it was Boston up 5-2, lose 6-5. So now that this team, who we know has heart and tenacity, and has now lost 7 straight games with great coaching, tough coach. The Capitals snapped their 4-game losing streak with a 5-4 win at home over the Oilers on Monday night. Ovi is a -11 through 14 games. A -11. That's a pretty shocking statistic. And I know some people think the plus-minus is an archaic stat. 8 goals, 5 assists, 13 points in 14 games. I don't think it's that archaic. It's possible that they get John Carlson back from his lower body injury. Dmitry Orlov missed the Oilers game. I can't believe that the Capitals were able to beat the Oilers on Monday night. You have Oshie, Brown, Hagelin, Backstrom, and Tom Wilson all out. Then you have 2 of your top 4 defensemen out. And you know what we do when a team's missing 2 of their top 4 defensemen? You fade them. Now, what you could have just done is taken the Oilers team total over in that game and cashed that over 3.5. But honestly, I don't know how you don't look towards the Pittsburgh Penguins in this hockey game. I don't know how. But do you want to catch a falling knife? Do you want a road favorite? Do you want a road favorite that's 1-5-1 on the road this year? At this point, I don't know if there's proper risk reward. And now we've talked about 3 road favorites. I thought I was going to talk myself into Pittsburgh. And Kent Davis says, no falling knives, Jimmy. I mean, I think you're right, Kent. I think you're right. I mean, Rem Mo says Oilers penalty killing was exposed that night. So it's Penguins or nobody else. But how many times am I going to sit here telling you that the Penguins are going to respond and that, they have not responded? 7 straight losses. So would you be surprised if the Caps put an 8th on? I would, with all the injuries they have. I didn't realize this was going to be tricky. Okay, Kent Davis says, let's move on to the Ducks at home. I moved on them late last night. Big value, baby. And Rob Free says, 1-5-1 on the road. Hell to the no. Danzo says, I watched the Edmonton Capitals game the other night. Washington almost blew that lead. 1-4 in their last 5. 4 of those. They're not that, look, I've got the Capitals to not make the playoffs. I got at plus 120. I think I got the Capitals to team point total under. I do not believe in this Capitals team. But what's going on with Pittsburgh? It feels like Crosby getting to go up against Ovechkin in this rivalry that they've had for so long is a perfect opportunity for the Penguins to get off their schneid. All right, let's talk about the final game on the board. Minnesota Wild 5. It says 5-5-1, but I know that they lost late last night. I must have put this in before that game was over. They're 5-6-1, 3. So that would make them 3-2-1 on the road. They lose 1-0 to the Kings last night. Ducks 4-8-1, 2-2-0 at home. Honda Center, Anaheim, California. We've got Philip Gustafson and John Gibson announced. Minnesota power play at 25.6% because they still have Zuccarello and Kaprizov and a defense that, with a couple power play specialists on it. Their penalty killing 76.3%. I was adamant that they wouldn't be very good this year. And how lucky are we? How good have they been for a long time? We're in business. We got 3 years of them not being a very good hockey team. And I think that under 99.5 points was a gift, an absolute gift. Remmo's leaning to the over 6 in Minnesota, Anaheim, but Minnie's struggling to score the last couple days. Says both goalies suck tonight. There's Dabby Cab. He will be on with Connor Mack for our big NCAA basketball show, 5 p.m. Eastern. Slotsy says Ducks only team without regulation to win the worst goals against average in the NHL, and Kaprizov has a hearing with the NHL office before the game. Yes, he had that 5-minute major last night. Dad Fence says the only play I like for in the NHL is over for Wild Ducks. Anaheim power play at 11.4%. That's confusing. It sucks that Jamie Drysdale is out for the year. 63.3% penalty killing is really bad. I mean, I just thought this team would be so much stronger defensively. I mean, look at Klingberg. He's a -7 out there. All right, let's take a look at the line history here in this one. Final game on the board. We have no movement. Minnesota opening up -159. They're now -157. Minnesota got up to -167, though. It's come back. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 6.5, juice to the under. It's now a pick 'em. Take a look at the cash flow here. Anaheim being given the line value. 34% of the tickets, 71% of the cash is on Anaheim. 75% of the tickets, 65% of the cash is on the over. Clint saying Ducks over, Wild unders. Don't know what to do here. But DFN liking the over here. Let's discuss this a little more. Wild on the second half of a back-to-back after losing their second straight game last night, 1-0 to the Kings. They've been shut out in back-to-back games. I really always find it nervous to fade a team that's been shut out in back-to-back games. The bounces are going to go their way at some point. We know how hockey works. Kaprizov and Zuccarello are struggling without Hartman out there. Freddie Goodrow's not the guy they need. And Joel Eriksson-Ek just doesn't have the hands to pass with these guys. I didn't realize that until I picked Eriksson-Ek in the hockey pool last year, thinking he was going to be the number one line centerman, and he's just not quite capable. He's a really good player and helpful, but he's just not capable of playing between superstars like Kaprizov and Zuccarello. Kaprizov and Zuccarello are a combined -12. That's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. And if you watch this team, they're giving their 2018 second-round pick, Kalen Addison, a ton of ice time. And it's very difficult being a 5'11", 180-pound defenseman. And look, we saw him in Lethbridge, high scoring. We saw him at Iowa Wild, high scoring. But the NHL is a different beast. And it's tough to clear these guys in front of the net. And he's a -8 in 12 games this year. It makes, when you have a guy like him on the ice for 23 minutes a game, you become easier to play against because you know you can put your ass in his face and he's not going to be able to do anything about it. He's not going to be able to move you from the front of the net. Jordan Greenway's returned from injury. Marcus Foligno, Ryan Hartman, Brandon Duhaime all out. Ducks coming off their second loss in 3 games, 5-3 at home versus the Panthers. They have allowed 22 goals over their past 4 games. So you have a team that's been shut out in back-to-back games going up against the worst defensive team in the league. Troy Terry's been excellent. They may get Euro Vakanainen back. He will help the back line. Noli says Wild Kings last night was a thing of beauty. The Kings are going to be really fun for you, Noli. I think that they're a tough team to play against. And they're at their best when they're playing defensively. And if they get some goaltending, they're possible. And we have the Taint play of the day in. Taint play of the day in. Marist -1.5. Taint play of the day is in. I thought that I was going to come here and there was going to be some moves that I thought I needed to bet. I cannot trust what I'm seeing from this Ducks team. So, but let's start from the beginning. The Hurricanes, I think, are the play. I think they are. With Kachuk out, Vlad not back yet, Montour being asked to do too much, coming back from a Western trip. When was that last game they played? That 5-3 win at Anaheim. I got to pull that up. I believe it was that Sunday or Monday? Kent Davies says, I'm on the Ducks. Please say a prayer for me. Look, I can understand it. And hopefully, you know what you need to do is say a prayer that Kaprizov won't be in the lineup. If Kaprizov is out of the lineup and they're offering a 6, that's so hard to do that with the Ducks. But look, I don't want the Canucks at this price. And I do have some interest in the Pittsburgh Penguins. You have to think that this is a well-rested, angry group that's going to step up here. You just have to think that. You have to think that. And I don't know how the Capitals are still doing it. Capitals have one line. They have one line right now with all their injuries. And I think that it's a must. I think that I will end up, and I know Rob Free's going, how can you back a Penguins team that's lost 7 straight and won 5-1 on the road? Maybe you just can't. But the Capitals have to be fadeable. They're missing 2. Okay, how about this? If I get confirmation that Karlsson is not coming back and that Orlov is not playing, if that'll be the final draw, I will bet on the Pittsburgh Penguins. I need Orlov and Karlsson out of the lineup, and I will bet on the Penguins. So I won't bet it after the show. If Orlov and Karlsson are out, I will bet the Penguins. And then I do think the Carolina Hurricanes are the play here with Florida coming back home. So I will move. Now, I think if I move on the Hurricanes, I might go turn it into a plus line. I might take them on the -1 line. And I would be fine if Antti Ranta is in that. All right. There we go. And Danzo, no, I will not be on the Ducks. I will cheer on Kent Davies and not be on the Ducks. That is that. That is the NHL card. And tomorrow we have a giant NHL card. So there's going to be a ton of opportunities for us. Mr. Gokster will be joining us. Timmy OG is on the Ducks +140. Avocado said, I thought the Lightning's tied it last night, went to sleep. Yeah. Daniel said, watch the Wild yesterday. I took Kings, but Wild fought hard. Even when Kaprizov was ejected, Wild killed 3 power plays by the Kings. One of them was a 5-minute power play. Look, nobody's ever questioned the Minnesota Wild heart. And it'll be great when Foligno comes back. But Eriksson Ek, Greenway, Foligno, those are very, very tough players to play against. And if they are one line, it'd be my favorite line probably in hockey. And I hate saying that because I hate the Wild. All right. Let's move on to NBA. A man who was spectacular last season on our show, making his second appearance here. I'm very excited to see how he does. And I do believe he was so close to 60%. He tried all year to get to 60% against the spread. I believe that it's in the cards this year. Please welcome from Los Angeles, California. It's Darryl in the house. Darryl, what up?
Yo, what is up, Jimmy? What's good, man? What is good? It is good to be here. You know the mantra by now, man. Any day on this side of the day is a what?
It's a good day, man.
It's a good fucking day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm happy to be here, man. Second year back. Glad you had me back. Glad everything is in order, man. And I'm just excited to talk about ball. Really, really excited to talk about ball. Now, for what it's worth, I got to get this out because you know me, I'm very transparent. And I don't sugarcoat shit for the most part, but the beginning of the season's been really, really bad for me, right? And so it's I can't remember this happening for quite some time. So it's really been a humbling moment for me just to know that, hey, man, there's always things you could do to get your game better. So I salute everyone who's doing their shit, who's, you know, on a roll right now. Stay on fire, know your spots, pick your spots. And everybody who hasn't really caught that win just yet, man, keep grinding, learn and do it again.
Yeah, it's beautifully put. I find a slap in the face happens to me at the beginning of sports that I believe I'm best at. It happened to me in NHL. I opened 0-7, down 7.66 units, and
Mm-hmm.
it took me, a while to get that back. And then right when I got
Yeah.
back, I had a 1 in 3 days, so I'm down a couple units on the
Yeah.
season. But I don't think there's anything wrong with the capping telling you that that this is extremely difficult what you're doing. And
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And Jimmy, I'm telling you, man, uh, I had tweeted it out yesterday. The NBA right now, there's a game within a game within a game. But what I think even made it harder this year, honestly, is when these sports books and gambling companies started aligning themselves as sponsors with the actual sports companies, with the NBA. When you have Shams being now, I think he was paid by, was it FanDuel? Or so you essentially now have books that have firsthand knowledge to what's going on in the NBA, even possibly before the NBA does. So these injury reports, they're going to get out of hand. You already seeing that happening. If you're paying attention to how the league is working now, where there's some serious shenanigans going on with the injury reports. You now see the NBA trying to clean that up a little bit by dishing out fines for NBA teams not really being on top of their grind when it comes to reporting these injuries. So just know, man, you make sure you got your notes working and you're always looking at what's going on, because it's a game within a game within a game. And I'll be damned if these books or sports teams really care about us. So let's get it while we can.
Well, we had a very strong year last year, and I know that the sports books are in bed with the league now.
Yeah, man.
But I don't see why we won't have another one here.
We're gonna do it, bro.
Working together as a team,
Absolutely.
and believing in the angles that we can find. So
absolutely. Shout out to everybody in the chat too. It's been a long time, man. So everybody, man, I don't read my comments even though I should, but everything that comes up on the screen here, I'll see. So shout out to everyone, all my day ones who have followed you, Jimmy, who have followed me, who knows how we all get down. We're gonna get these books back. I promise you, we're gonna get it.
I love it. Let's get right to work. Let's right to work. We have a massive card that we are dealing with. We start at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Dallas Mavericks 6-3, 1-2 on the road at the Orlando Magic, 2-9, 2-3 at home at the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. Dallas 4-1 over their last 5, 93.5 possessions a game. Now the possessions a game, I feel like we've gone deep enough into the year. All my possessions a game will be last 5. So I'll say what the team's record is last 5 and their pace, and that will be only the last 5 games. Orlando 1-4 over their last 5, 100.9 possessions a game. Let's start with the line history here in the Mavericks game. We move over here, and we know that Luka has been absolutely
a beast, bro.
On fire.
It's ridiculous.
He's a special basketball player. This opened up with the Mavs -7. They're now 7.5. The total opened up. Oh, this is Bookmaker. Let's get back to Pinnacle. They opened up at 217. The total now at 214. Let me just go over the Pinnacle opening line. Yeah, so Pinnacle opened this up -6.5, and it's now -7.5. Let's go over to the cash flow here. And in this one, 4,942 tickets in. 39% of the tickets and 84% of the cash is on the Orlando Magic. So the sharp big bets are coming in on the Magic. We've seen the Mavericks win a bunch of games without covering. 84% of tickets on the over, and 76% of that cash is on the over. These teams met on October 30th. It was a 114-105 win.
It was a push.
Yeah, and Luka went for 44, 30 in the first half. Mavs have won 4 straight, coming off a 96-94 win at home over Brooklyn on Monday night. Luka has 30 or more points in all 9 games this season. The only player who's opened up the season with a longer 30-point-plus scoring streak is Wilt in 1962-63. He went 23 straight. Luka went 36 points, 6 boards, 6 assists in the win over the Nets. He's averaging 36 points on 52.4% shooting, 8.4 boards, 8.3 assists. Josh Green getting more run. Dorian Finney-Smith doing a lot of work. Dorian Finney-Smith, Josh Green, Tim Hardaway combined 45 points off the bench. But
that's crazy.
Here, Hardaway's dealing with a left hip strain, so he left Monday's game in the third quarter and did not return. He's listed as day-to-day. Magic coming off their second straight loss, 134 on Monday night. Paolo Banchero listed as questionable with the left ankle sprain. He is 30-plus in back-to-back games. And Wagner back in business, 23 points, 5 boards, 7 assists against Houston. Darryl, here we go. Game 1, Mavs Magic. The floor is yours.
Yeah, man. Last game they played, that line closed at -9. And they pushed that game. So now you got this game, and the spread comes out lower than the last game, right? What are the books knowing? What are the books knowing here? What's confusing to me about Dallas is they're winning games, but they're not covering spreads. They're not covering the spreads whatsoever. You look at the game against Brooklyn, didn't cover that spread, and that was -6. Look at the game against Toronto, didn't cover that spread, even though they won it, that was -4. Look at the game against Utah. Holy shit, what is going on in Utah right now, right? They win that game, Jay, but what? They don't cover the 6.5. The last spread that they covered was actually against Brooklyn, October 27. And that was the game they won by 4 in overtime, right? So am I fading the fact that Dallas is going to not cover? Do they cover the spread is the question. Well, these last 5 games have showed me that they don't. And it's almost like they're pushing you to take Orlando here by making that line even lower. With all that money that's coming in on Dallas, this line only moves a hook. So it's a game that I can't touch because not only are they not covering spreads, they're not even covering the first quarter. And Utah blew Dallas out by 34 points in the first quarter. So it's one of these games that's telling me to lean Orlando at home, but it's Dallas could get off at any given time. So it's not something I really trust to do right now at this point. So it's a no play for me. I'm saying all that to say it's a no play. If I have to make a play, I'm going to play Orlando. But it's one of those things that I can't do right now. So it's a no play for me.
This team is different with Jalen Suggs on the floor. But we need to know what's going on with Paolo. If Banchero's in and Hardaway's out, I mean, I don't think this line will move off of this number.
Yeah.
I think the Magic are the play.
I think the automatic thing is that you do take Luka and his points. I think he's at 34.5 right now. So that's something that's not even giving you plus money. I think his points are 34.5, could be maybe 33.5. So you could take a gamble there and say, hey, I'm going to trust Luka's going to just do it again. They have had the time off. So you can take Luka's points here because he is going to get them. But at the same time, and what would probably even make that even more substantial is he would probably have more points and less assists because I do believe you have Christian Wood that's out on this game, right? You said that. So you take another scorer out of the paint, let alone that can also shoot the three. That's just going to have Luka carry the ball more on his end, shoot up a little more shots than he normally would. So you could take the 34.5 if you want to play Luka here with his points, because I do believe that there's nobody on Orlando that's going to stop him from scoring. No one in the league is stopping Luka right now, right? So yeah, you could take Luka's points, but it's probably something I might look into. But for right now, there's no play. 2 different tales of 2 different teams right now.
I would like to get in on the Magic. I would like to.
Yeah, but that's okay. But I ask you that. They're 4-6 ATS, but away they're 0-6. And so we already know they're going to lose, but are they going to, or I'm sorry, they are home. They are home. They're 2-3 at home. They have a winning record or a losing record at home still, but do you trust, because the Mavericks aren't covering spreads, that the Mavericks aren't going to cover this one?
No, I take it. Now I'm not going to move on it because I'll rush to the window if Banchero's not in and I get 9.5 or something like that. I will rush. I think that you take Hardaway and Wood off the bench, then you're just asking for Luka to do too much, and he'll do it.
He'll do it.
But I just don't see the Mavericks mean, covering a big number here. I
I would rather in this case here when you're taking Orlando, it's really you're betting that Dallas isn't going to cover that spread. So you might as well be early to the party than late to the party in this case, right? So the trend has shown as of right now, Dallas isn't getting off to a quick start in the first quarter, right? And they're not covering these spreads down the stretch. So Magic would be the play. But I'm not confident in the Magic just yet to put my money on.
No, I can understand that. They're not a team that you want to back. Having Suggs back is big, and Wagner is playing well right now. I'm going to take the Magic. The question will be when, and I certainly don't want to be on the Magic at this number if Banchero's not going to be in the lineup. So I'm going to be waiting here, but I like home dog at this number against the Mavericks team that's not going to have a bench, that just wants to get in and out. Victory. So,
right.
All right. No move here from our man Darryl. Sammy Calmer moving on first quarter and full game with the Magic. Mike M says Mavs are 12-1 to the over at the Magic. The line is shorter than 6.5.
That's a good who said that?
Our guy Mike M started flat play.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's a good that's something good to look at. Good look on that if Sam takes that. Sam has been hitting. He gets hot really quick in the NBA. So for him to take Orlando, I mean, it just seems like that's the spot to be in right now. How Dallas is playing. The Mavs are 12-1 over. Yeah.
All right. JPZ doesn't have a first quarter spread, but he says Orlando's +1 in the first quarter, ranked 11th in the NBA. Let's move on to Portland Trail Blazers at Charlotte Hornets. We head to the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Portland 7-3, 4-1 on the road. Hornets 3-8, 1-4 at home. In the last 5, Portland 3-2, playing at a pace of 97.5 possessions a game, while Charlotte 0-5, playing at a pace of 100.6 possessions a game. Let's move over to the line history here in this one. We have these Blazers opening up at -5 at 8:40 this morning. They moved to 4.5. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 220.5, is now at 219.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. 4,350 tickets in, 67% of tickets, 88% of cash on the Blazers, but a half-point move towards the Hornets. Strange. Then 80% of tickets, 81% of cash on the under, and it's dropped a half point or a point. Joe Chris is on the Blazers saying that Hayward is out. Nunya in the house. Blazers coming off their second win in 3 games, 110-107 at the Heat on Monday. Lillard, 29 points per game, returned from a 4-game absence because of that calf strain. And the Hornets coming off their 5th straight loss, 108-100 at home. He's watching out Monday night. Still no LaMelo, and now Dennis Smith Jr. dealing with an ankle injury. The Hornets were awful from 3. Absolutely atrocious. 5 of 32 and are hitting 33.9% from 3 on the season. Take it away from us, Darryl. Blazers, Hornets.
Portland put up 110 on Miami. They put up 82 against Phoenix, and they're back-to-back. They put up 108 against Phoenix the game prior and beat them by 2. They put up 106 to Memphis, and they put up 125 against Houston. I would say that Houston and Charlotte are kind of comparable, being Charlotte might be the better team in some cases here. And I look at that score, and I look at the total being 219, and I'm looking at what Charlotte is averaging, allowing their teams to average. Their teams right now are allowing 113 points a game. Right. So I'm looking right now. I hear an echo. I'm sorry about that. I don't know if that's me. Charlotte lost to Washington, gave them 108 points. Lost to Brooklyn, got 98 points. Lost to Memphis, 130 points. Lost to Chicago, 106 points. Lost to Sacramento, 115 points. I believe the play here is Charlotte full game team total over 112.5 points. 112.5 is where I got it at. I stepped on that already. The points that they're playing, rather, or the points that Charlotte is scoring a game is 109.8. but I'm going to take out the fact that they did play some tougher teams these last games. And the play is definitely, in my opinion, got to be that Portland's going to score over that 112. 113 is really good, in my opinion, here. I did step on that. I don't know what you got it at. I got it at minus 110. Portland 112.5 over full game team total.
Sorry, I thought you said Charlotte at first. So it's Portland team total.
Portland team total over 112.5.
That's available at plus 105.
Yeah,
at Pinnacle, the plus line.
You've got a better number than me. So yeah,
Blazers team total over 112.5 at plus 105.
Mm-hmm.
Neil Mystic says, no, I'm not going to, man. Only night shows. Can you get me on that? Neil Mystic says, don't let the hot start fool you. Portland is not the best against the spread. Perfect Rotation says, how do the Trailblazers not cover this? Sammy they can't take Charlotte, so it's an easy pass.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. You would think that this line is short enough for Portland to come out here and smack the shit out of them, right? Their team total is 107. So I really can't get a gauge on it, to be honest with you. But I don't think Portland's going to hold them. Right. I don't think that if you're already averaging about 110 points, I don't see why 1 3-pointer wouldn't do it. Especially this team is rested on. I mean, they had a day off, rather, with it being election day yesterday. So they all have a chance to do a little game planning. The shoot around is going to tell a lot. But the Blazers should come out here and at least score 113 points against the Charlotte Hornets. So I do like them to score.
And what is keeping you off of backing them to cover?
Because it could just the games could get out of hand. I felt that was too easy, and this spread is too low. It's one of those things to where everybody's going to be on the Portland Trailblazers because you have your stars out for Charlotte. You don't have Hayward in there. Obviously, you don't have Melo in there. And I mean, Charlotte is still 4-6 ATS. Now Portland is 8-2 ATS, right? And Charlotte sucks at home, while Portland is good away. So, I mean, all the stars aligned to take Portland here, and they should just blow these guys out. I just don't like how low that spread is. When you look at the Portland spread against Houston, that was also 4.5. That was 4.5, and they blew them out the water. So it seems a little easy here, and I just think that I would look at rather the team total, and I could see Charlotte possibly get some shots up, even though they just can't score right now. So if you think that Portland's going to score over 112.5 points at 113, maybe Charlotte doesn't even get to the century mark here. So it should be the logical answer should be to jump on the spread as well. But I would rather look at the team total. I think that's the safer play, if you ask me.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But I have Jeremy Grant probable, all of them probable. Nurkic,
big guys are probable,
Simons,
right? Nurkic is
Winslow,
probable.
Yeah, everybody probable. So I don't have him being out.
And maybe that's what the line is telling you also, Jimmy, right? Maybe these guys just might not play because maybe you should see a larger line if all these guys are actually playing.
Well, DJ 100 Grand says when it's obvious. Portland Trailblazers is the play. Well, the books are sitting there opening their arms wide, saying we want all of the Portland Trailblazers money. And when they do that, DJ 100 Grand, it makes me nervous. And
very nervous. I
completely agree with you. Statistically, with the injuries that Charlotte's dealing with, you have to expect them to shoot better than 5 for 32 from 3 in this game. But Blazers have all these guys questionable and probable. That's a tricky thing to decipher. But you have all of this money that's coming on Portland. 89% of the cash on the spread is coming on Portland. So $9 out of $10 is coming in on Portland, and the line goes from 5 to 4.5.
Mm-hmm. That's shenanigans.
Yeah, we know the books are actively trying to beat us, and they want as much Portland money as they can get. And when that happens, and my capping tells me to take that side, I would rather just stay off and not have anything to do with it. Or, like you're saying, take that team total over 112.5 plus 105. So let's move on and let's move past it. That's Blazers Hornets here. DJ 100 Grand says it's a trick from the books. So we'll see DJ 100 Grand, 90%, 9 out of every $10 is on Portland. And now
That's
they've made
crazy.
it easier to bet Portland. So
Yeah.
what is the trick? Exactly. DJ 100 Grand. The trick, what's the trick? Are they giving back to the people after the election? All right, let's go on. 7 p.m. Eastern, Denver Nuggets 7-3, 3-3 on the road at the Indiana Pacers, 5-5, 3-2 at home. Gamebridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Denver last 5, 4-1, 99.8 possessions a game. Indiana last 5, 4-1, 101.1 possessions a game. Let's move over to the line history here. Oh shoot, let's move over to the line history here in this one and see what we are dealing with. Denver, Indiana. We have Indiana opening up as 5.5-point dogs. They got to 6, and it came back to 5.5. It came back to 5.5 10 minutes ago. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 234.5, and it's up to 235.5. From a cash flow standpoint, here, Denver, Indiana, we have 8,070 tickets in. 38% of the tickets, 56% of the cash is on the Pacers. And 63% of tickets, 80% of the cash is on the over. We don't have a belief that the public never wins.
They do.
They do. Yeah, they do. This is an interesting spot, DJ 100 Grand. It's fun to have these conversations. It's fun to be on different sides. So I'll be curious to see what happens to this line. I'll be curious to see what happens, overall in this game. Viper says he got cucked by Denver by the hooker last game, but on them again.
He got what?
It's just he lost by half point. I should have just explained that. I should have just said Vipe said he lost by half point, but he's going to bet the Nuggets again. The Nuggets coming off their third straight win, 115-109 at the Spurs on Monday night, hitting 41.9% from 3. Funny retail vids, thank you so much for the support and becoming a member. The Pacers come in off their second straight win, 129-122 at home versus Pelicans on Monday night. Miles Turner is absolutely rolling. We saw him start the year hurt. Now he's starting to roll. 37 points, 12 boards after missing the first 4 games of the season with an ankle injury. Neil Mystic says, looks like the Pacers are live dogs. Take it away for us, Nuggets, Pacers.
You ready for this analysis? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me Denver first quarter minus I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Ooh, all right, break it down. Why you on the Twitter?
Okay, so we know right now we can kind of get a gauge. There's more games that's being played right now, and you can kind of get a gauge of where these teams are first quarter. Denver's best scoring quarter is the first quarter. They're averaging 33.1 points in the first quarter. Indy's worst scoring quarter is the first quarter. They're averaging 26.6 points. Denver is allowing 28 points, while Indy's scoring points allowed is in the first quarter at 32.4. Denver is going to put up easily 35, 36 points. They might even do another run like they did on San Antonio and score 40 at San Antonio's 27 points. So I looked at the best quarter versus the worst quarter, and it is by a huge point differential that Denver is going to win this first quarter. So I do like Denver first quarter at -2. That's what I got it at. I do believe this game could be easily 6, 7, 8 points, maybe even 10 points in the first quarter before Indy settles down and gets into a rhythm. First quarter to me is probably the safest spot. Both these teams, ATS-wise, you do have Indy that has a better record ATS than Denver at 6-4 right now versus Denver being 5-5. Denver away, They're 3-3, while at home they're perfect. Indy at home is 3-2, so they actually have a winning record at home when it comes to games played. But I do believe that Denver in the first quarter is going to come out because Indy isn't stopping a nosebleed at all in the first quarter. It's going to take them some time to get it together, and then that team settles down gradually as the game goes by, and then there you have it. This is how they're winning and inking out games. But first quarter, there is a huge points difference to where Indy is scoring and Indy is allowing, it being their worst quarter and it being Denver's best quarter, first quarter. I like it.
Yeah, and you're getting backed by Jay Peasy. Jay Peasy says Pacers dead last, covering first quarter margin. Denver first quarter was my only loss the other day, though. And he says, damn you, recency bias. Because again, it's such a simple thing, but it's so difficult to stop. When you lose on a bet, you think, oh, I can't possibly go back to the well the next time.
Yeah, I actually did that with Chicago, JPZ. So they were another one of those high-scoring first-quarter teams, right? And they came out and played Brooklyn, who I believe Brooklyn came off a back-to-back, and they lost that first quarter. I believe it was 29-27. Right. So it's one of those things where like, damn, okay, either you're going to get those losses, but you got to know in this position here, Denver just looks like the right side.
Yeah, they sure handled the Spurs pretty comfortably. Michael Porter said he's going to hit 50 from 3 this year. He's hitting 49.3. I mean, it turned out to be a very good draft pick. If you have patience with these kids that are hurt, sometimes it can really work out. Nuggets first quarter -2 and -105. Big shout out to Wine Time Sports. Thank you for becoming a member. Wine Time Sports, funny retail vids. Thinking of you guys. Thank you for your support here. And we do have breaking news. Jacques Vaughn is the head coach of the Nets. So they were a little concerned about the shitstorm that would have happened.
So they don't take Ime.
No. I guess they were just concerned about I don't know what.
Wow.
Yeah,
I think Durantula really wanted Ime too. He mentioned some things about that in the summer.
Well, you heard what the Celtics players are saying. They want him back. It's not the play. Look, the players aren't sitting there going, "What? My coach cheated on his wife?"
Yeah.
Fuck, they care about that shit.
They don't know what shit.
They don't know what it's like out there. They know what it's like out there.
Yeah.
In your face every day.
Yeah. Shout out to Wine Time too, man. I did see that. I think a couple of weeks ago, Wine Time had mentioned something about drinking some wine or something like that. Get at me, man. That's all I got to say. Think about drinking some wine and capping some games on a wine offer. I don't know what it was, but if you remember, brother, let me know.
Nuggets first quarter -2. If I gave you a free $500 bet on the full game, would you be with the Sharps here on the Pacers plus 5.5?
Man, these Pacers aren't supposed to be good, right? Just like Utah. I mean, what the hell is going on with some of these teams right now in the NBA? I couldn't do it, to be honest with you. I could not do it. I mean, they lost to 7.5. Denver lost to 7.5 spread against San Antonio. They're up and down. They've won 3 and lost 2 in their last 5. Pacers are on a roll right now. They've won the last 5 of their spreads, right? And so that's what concerns me. I would probably have to say yes, but that's why I just like that first quarter so much more. But you would have to align with the Sharps here. I don't think it gets out of hand.
It's Pacers or no bet for me. And I am
full game.
If it would be full game, yeah. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it to the window here. I'll see if there's other action available, but I'm close to backing the Pacers by 5.5. All right, let's move on. Next for us, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Utah Jazz 9-3, 4-3 on the road at the Atlanta Hawks, 7-3, 4-1 at home. We're at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Utah, last 5, 4-1, 99.2 possessions a game. Atlanta, last 5, 3-2, 102.07 possessions a game. Let's move over to the line history here in this one, Jazz Hawks. We have the Hawks opening up at -3.5. Now they're -4. For From a totals perspective, this opened up at 226.5 and it shot all the way up to 229. These are high totals for teams that
High
aren't playing with a
totals.
ton of pace. Let's take a
Absolutely.
look at what the cash has to say about this one. The 3,480 tickets in, 24% of the tickets, 45% of the cash is on the Hawks. So the bigger bets are coming in on the Hawks. We don't have a cash flow for the total, but we know 78% of tickets are on the total, and it's shot up. Jazz coming off their third straight win, 139-116 at home versus the Lakers on Monday night. 6 players averaging double figures right now. Lauri Markkanen leading the way. Jared Vanderbilt has missed 2 straight games with right adductor soreness. Hawks coming off their third straight win, 117-98 at home versus the Bucks. They handed the Bucks first loss of the year. They did that without Trae Young. He was in warm-ups, but right shin soreness. His status Wednesday right now is uncertain. AJ Williams, got to watch him really step up. Career high 24 points. DeJounte at 25 and 11. And the Hawks are still playing without Bogdanovic. Take it away for us, Darryl, Jazz Hawks.
Yeah, so this was real tricky to me, and I'll keep it short and simple here because there was a no play on this game for me. The obvious play on this would have been, provided you would have had the same team as last year, would be to play that under. These teams, no matter what the total is, dating back to 2019, every time they've played, every game has gone under. Under 225, under 228, under 221, under 219, under 223, and you're coming back with the number at 227.5. If you look at what Utah has doing as of late, their games are going over, under, right? So is this the game that goes under here? Well, it's a completely different team now. So with Atlanta, they've been not covering spreads like Utah. Utah's covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the last 6 spreads, bro. Utah's covered them. And there's been games where Atlanta's completely tricked off the game. Not alone, they lost the game against the last game that I saw that they lost. I was like, okay, what are you doing? Was that Charlotte game? They beat Detroit twice, as you should. You lost to Toronto. You beat New York Knicks, as you should. You beat New Orleans. And then surprisingly, you beat Milwaukee. What if they don't beat Milwaukee? Is this line -2.5? I'm not sure. So because you have a completely different team this year with Utah, I mean, this whole Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes is kind of going down the drain every game that these guys play because they're just really, really running it up right now. I don't trust Atlanta right now to wholeheartedly say I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is with this team, right? So this was a no play for me. If I had to make a play, it would be on Utah because of the body of work that they're doing right now. I mean, they're covering spreads. But Atlanta still has a really great backcourt, and they should be able to come out here and smack the shit out. If you just beat Milwaukee, you better absolutely destroy Utah. But I don't know. I don't like how short this line is here. And so I know the betting public is going to look at this game and look at these two teams, not really dig a little deeper and say, oh, Atlanta just beat Milwaukee. This is an automatic win. Smash them. And then the Utah Jazz come out and beat Atlanta just like Charlotte did. So this is a no play for me right now. I couldn't pick a side. I don't have an angle here.
It has moved to 4.5 at BetChris and Bookmaker. You know, traditionally, you don't want to bet a team after their best win of the season,
right? After their Super Bowl, right? After their NBA championship game, the Bucks that's their only loss right now.
Yeah. So, what up, Coin? Great to see you, man. Sammy Comics says weird dynamic. Hawks matching the Bucks without trade now on a short line versus the Jazz. Says I ain't gambling on this game.
Yeah.
And
smart
shout
man.
out to Rayhan Hyder, now a member as well. Rayhan, I love it. Respect. So I guess the problem is, do you want to back the Jazz out off 3 straight wins? Piker says high tempo game. I'll take the over 227.5.
And that's when I looked at the automatic play being the under because of how these teams have played in the past. You just don't have the same team in Utah, right? And that is a pretty high total in comparison to what their totals have been in the last few years that they've played. So I'll just wait this one out.
All right, let's move on to the next one. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Pistons at Boston Celtics. Pistons 3-8, 0-5 on the road. Celtics 7-3, 3-1 at home. TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts. Detroit last 5, they're 2-3, playing at a pace at 100.7 possessions a game, while the Boston Celtics last 5, 4-1, playing at 99.72 possessions a game. Let's move over to the line history here in this one. Celtics Pistons, and see what we are dealing with. This opened up with the Celtics as 11.5-point favorites at Pinnacle. They're now 12.5-point favorites. From a total perspective, it opened up at 224.5. It has moved to 226.5.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go over to the cash flow here. We have 6,393 tickets in, 38% of the tickets on the Pistons, 67% of the cash, but it's moved a point in Boston's direction. Then 59% of the tickets, 75% of the cash on the over. So bigger bets have come in on the over, and it's gone up 1.5 points. And I get it when the Celtics are playing right now. This team has a ton of offense. And they're just rolling right now, coming off their third straight win, 109-106 in Memphis. Tatum, 39 points on 12 of 25 shooting. This offense is scoring 115.3 points per game. Pistons snapped their 3-game losing streak with a 112-103 win at home over the Thunder Monday night. Sadiq goes for 25. Cade Cunningham, 21 and 11. Ivy and Isaiah Stewart double-doubles. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Pistons, Celtics.
I just saw I just saw my man Nasty Nate Celtics trifecta, right? This is crazy. Celtics averaging 117.5 points per game. Detroit is averaging 107.7 points a game. So there's a 10-point differential here, right? I think this line is sharp, but I also believe this is the easiest game that the Celtics have played since Orlando. And that was in the beginning of the year. I should easily be able to say, hey, Celtics are going to go out and blow these boys out by 20 points, right? In the past, I've always said, hey, man, do not be afraid of this line. Don't be afraid of this line at all. Don't. But this is one of these games, in my opinion, that Boston will probably get up for. They got a little 2-day break after this, and then they go and play Denver. I don't want to touch this game right now. I don't. I think this line is really high. In the past, I would have said, yo, don't be afraid of this line. Give me Boston Celtics. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. But right now, I'm just going to wait this one out because it's still early. My gut is telling me Boston's going to blow this squad out. But the point averages and where they are right now makes this line very sharp. So this isn't a game that I want to sweat out if I'm basing it on what the books are saying and doing, right? So I think if you got it at the 11.5, 11, you're in a good spot. But now it's moved up a whole point. I've missed that 1 point value. I don't want to play this game.
Yeah, I wish this would correlate with the line history and the cash. I see why the big bets are coming in on the Pistons. I get it. I just from my first take, I feel like it's just, are the Pistons going to get the best out of the Celtics? That's where I start. Like, are they really going to have, are the Celtics really going to come in to the arena with complete focus, ready to step up here? And, I don't know if that's the case. The problem is that if this had gone from 11.5 to 11 or 11.5 to 10.5, I would move on the Celtics. The fact that it's moved to 12.5 is enough, is just enough to give me a pause here and make me want to move on. Make me want to move on. And we have some fascinating stuff coming up. Do you have any feel on this over? Do you agree with this slight move to the over?
I could see it going over. Because, Boston should be able to get, let alone Tatum and Brown, these guys should be able to get whatever they want, right? And I do believe that Brogdon's been a really good addition. If I would have caught it earlier, I would have taken Boston Celtics over a team total first half, right? Detroit's allowing 59 points, and Detroit is scoring, Detroit's allowing 59.5 points to first halves. And Boston is scoring 62 points on average in the first half. So if I'm going to look at a play, I don't see Detroit really stopping the squad. They should be able to score as they wish. I would take the team total over 61.5 points, but I missed that also. And I'm going to see if this goes down. And I might just step on a huge lean on that Celtics scoring over 60, or if it gets to 61, if it gets to 60.5, I may step on it.
So you're looking at that first half team total.
First half team total over for Boston. It's a lean for me right now. That total's at 61.5. That's another thing about Detroit. What they do in the first half is they allow more points in the first half than they do in the second half. And Boston scores less points in the first half than they do in the second half than they do in the first half.
All right, let's move on. We have a fascinating one coming up. Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. We just found out that Jacques Vaughn is the new coach of the Brooklyn Nets. New York Knicks 5-5, 2-3 on the road. Nets 4-7, 2-4 at home. Knicks last 5, 2-3, 101.2 possessions a game. Brooklyn last 5, 3-2, 95.9 possessions a game. The Nets just had an opportunity, although it might have been a PR issue, to be coached by a coach who took the Celtics to the NBA Finals in his first season. And they have decided not to do that. Interesting. The Nets open up -2. They're now -3. From a total standpoint, 224.5, or 224 it opened, now 221.5. Let's see if the cash correlates with that one. Move over here to it. We have 6,380 tickets in. 60% of the tickets, 85% of the cash is on the Knicks, although Sports Insights has given Brooklyn 33% line value. From a total standpoint, 55% of the tickets, 98% of the cash is on the under. Knicks coming off their second win in 3 games, 120-107 at the Wolves on Monday night, 19 threes. They haven't been that good from 3 this year, 34.8%, but they were very good in that last game. Julius Randle went for 31 points, career high 8 threes. He'd been 4 for 23 in his previous 6 games. The Nets are terrible defending the perimeter, second worst in the NBA. But I don't just think that the Knicks flipped the switch and are now going to be this dangerous team from outside. Nets had their 2-game winning streak snapped in 96-94 losses to the Mavs on Monday night. KD went for 26 points and missed a free throw with 5.6 seconds left. And then he had made 62 straight from the line. That's unbelievable. He purposely missed a third. Let's see what Mike M's saying. Mike M's saying Nets are 1-14 against the spread at home, playing a team that lost the last 3 meetings. Nets are 3-18 against spread at home, coming off an away game. 2-15 against spread as favorites in conference matchups versus a team that they beat against the spread in the previous meeting. Sweaty Butcher says Knicks 9-2 against the spread as a road dog of 3 or less, coming off a win. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Knicks, Nets, Barclays.
Yeah, so what I like about this game is you still have a little bit of calamity happening with the Brooklyn Nets. That's got to be a shocker to the players with Jacques Vaughn being head coach. You have Kyrie, that this is now his second out of his 5-game suspension that he's on, quite possibly because of the politics that is going on right now, that this guy does not put on a Nets jersey. He did meet Silver. They did talk some shit out, but I just don't know what's going to happen with Kyrie. That game, you did see Kevin Durant step up and just say, hey, I've got Luka. So there's just a lot of pressure on the Nets. In my opinion, the way you got to look at this really is how well the Knicks play in the first half. This is another game where I looked at the points. If you're looking at what the Knicks do in the first half, they are averaging 62.9 points in the first half. They're allowing 57 points. Brooklyn right now is giving you 56 points in the first half. They're giving you 56 points and they're allowing 54 points, right? So they're kind of balanced there in what they're doing offensively and defensively. I do believe that this is a game that the Knicks could outright win in the first half, let alone cover that 1.5. So their strongest quarter for the Knicks is their second quarter. So if something is going, a foul really in the first quarter for these guys, they do seem to turn it around in the second quarter. Knicks offense right now is averaging 29.3 points, while the Brooklyn offense on the first quarter is allowing or scoring 27 points. So they're outscoring the Nets in the first quarter, and they're outscoring the Nets in the first half. So I did step on New York Knicks plus 1.5 at minus 105 first half.
I get it. Let's line shop for you. Knicks first half. I have no idea. I would love to tell you that I have some idea or some sort of psychological angle on how the Nets are going to handle all of this controversy and this new coach that's probably not the one that they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't. I think that, if I had a free bet, I would probably just take the Knicks money line here, full game at plus 131. But let's get you locked in. Plus 1.5 is minus 103 at Pinnacle for the Knicks first half. Lock that in. Knicks first half plus 1.5 at minus 3. Spending penny bombs looking at Randall double. Rob Free says Knicks have the best player, Nets have the best player. Knicks have the better players. I think Knicks outright win. DC Capper looking at Brooklyn money line. Bo Jackson says Nets first quarter and first half for him.
He likes Nets. I like Bo Jackson. He's funny. He be kind of throwing a little bit of shade, but I like whoever Bo Jackson. I didn't see him last year, but that's a funny dude. But he likes the Nets, so I'm going against him. Yeah, I think he's actually been pretty good in his picks. I'm not sure. So best of luck to you, man. But I do like I think the Knicks could win outright in the first half myself. I really do. Just how explosive they are in the second quarter. Their second quarter is their highest scoring quarter. And the points allowed by Brooklyn, their highest is their second quarter also.
This is moving towards the Nets as we speak. A bunch of books just moved it to 3.5.
Interesting. A lot of calamity there. Maybe they get it together, man. I'm not too sure. Not too sure right now on how I would gauge the Nets mindset.
Robert Franklin leaning to the under 222. If you can get it, book it. It's down to 220.5 at Pinnacle. Coin saying lots of money's on this Knicks under. Sweaty Butcher wanted to look at the cash one more time. Let's take a look at it here. We have 6,556 tickets in, 61% of the tickets, 85% of the cash on the Knicks. And now we have 3.5s on the board. I mean, that doesn't correlate.
That's
55%
crazy.
of tickets and 98% of cash on the under, and it's dropped 3.5 points. That perfectly correlates.
Jay, what's the injury report looking like? Is there anybody that's probable on the Knicks that may not play?
I'll pull it up right this second. Let's see what we are dealing with here. Oh, man. And Rayhan says last 3 games, Nets doing well, playing through KD in a low post, says he loves Brooklyn tonight. Let's get this. Okay, it's popping up right now. Here we go. The Knicks injury report. No, see, you got Quentin Grimes questionable, and then
he's not going to move the line.
And then we know that Mitchell Robinson's out. So
yeah, he's gone for a minute.
Yeah, so that's
just, yeah.
There.
Okay.
Top shelf place. Remember the new coach team win factor. So Jacques Vaughn's been there, right? He's been there now. So because the fact he's been there, doesn't that take away from the new coach factor?
To some degree, it does, because every new coach is going to have their thought process and the way they do things, right? And obviously, Steve Nash was not working. The team, he just lost the team. So, of course, he's going to try to find his own types of schemes and things that he thinks that he could do better than what Steve Nash did. So, in my opinion, he's going to have his own little quirks. He's going to probably have a completely different game plan on how he utilizes these players. And that's why I'm saying it's kind of weird that the money would be going to Brooklyn here when there's probably a different type of scheme, or just you got to set some different type of game plan to establish yourself as the coach, and this is the way we're going. And it's probably completely different than what Steve Nash has done in the past.
And what I'm saying though also is that because this is his 4th game as coach here, it's not the same as when a new coach comes in that first game.
That first game, yeah. So maybe he's already gone through that process of establishing his game plan, and this is when you see it come to life. So in that case, the new coach, trend shouldn't really matter here.
I think that's what I'm sort of getting at. I know what you're saying, top shelf plays. I just feel like this is a little different because this isn't his actual first game as coach. It's just that he's now being announced as the coach. Let's move on. Next up here, we have Rockets Raptors, Scotiabank Arena. The Raptors opened up at -9. It goes to 9.5 and now -10.
Mm-hmm.
Last 5, Raptors are 3-2, playing at a pace of 101.7 points per game. Houston, last 5, 1-4, playing at a pace of 100.1 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the total. It opened up at 223.5 and has gone up to 224.5. These totals this year for the Rockets are a lot lower than they were last year. 5,031 tickets in, and it's all Raptors money. 76% of tickets, 99% of the cash, and then the total is up in the air. 56% of tickets on the over, 52% of cash on the over. It's gone up 1 point, but this total went up to 226 this morning. So it shot all the way up to 226, and then it started getting bet down again.
Mm-hmm.
So there has been a lot of movement with this total.
Mm-hmm.
And cash flow, we have a confusion with the total, but all the money coming in on the Raptors. Rockets snapped their 6-game losing streak with a 134-127 win at the Magic on Monday night. 34 from Jalen Green, 11 assists from KPJ. Eric Gordon, 19 points, 5 of 8 from three-point range. Kenyon Martin Jr. had 21 and 8 of 14 shooting. They feel good about themselves. That's the spot where I'd like to fade this Rockets team when they feel good about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of points. Raptors coming off their second loss in 3 games, 111-97 to the Bulls Monday night. They look bad. Pascal Siakam still dealing with the adductor strain and out. Fred VanVleet went for 27. Trent, 19. And Anunoby had 13 on Monday after 22 on Sunday. So this is, their 3rd game in 4 nights. And Chua being asked for more from Nick Nurse. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Rockets, Raptors.
Okay. Please don't overthink this one. Are you ready for this analysis? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Jimmy, are you really ready?
Yeah.
Give me Toronto. I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is. You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Yeah, I love this look. Angry Raptors squad. It's just a ton of points. Take it away. I'd love to hear more analysis.
Yeah. So we're really thinking that Toronto won't blow these boys out by more than 20 points? Like, what are we doing here? We're saying that Houston got right against who? Orlando. They lost the spread against Minnesota. They lost the spread to the Clippers. They beat them in the first game that they played. They lost the spread to Phoenix. They lost the spread to Portland. They lost the spread to Milwaukee. Good teams beat these boys down. That's the bottom line. Toronto, 8-3 ATS. And you know what they are at home? 4-1. 4-1 at home. I will love that. I don't care what this spread. This is one of these games where I'm saying do not be afraid of this number. This game is going to get away quickly. Like, this could easily be a trifecta spot. Easily. The only reason why I don't step on the first quarter is the fact, really, that you might have them feel a little good, feel a little bit away about themselves. I mean, for the most part, Houston allows 28 points, 29 points. Toronto allows 28 points. Toronto scores 28 points in the first quarter, and Houston scores 25 points. So it could be very, very close in the first quarter. But, man, after that, bruh, I'm done. We shouldn't even be talking about this fucking game. This is one of these teams. This is a game to where you look at the line, you're like, man, I don't give a fuck. That's why I said motherfucking shit here. Because this game is going to get out of hand for Houston. Toronto is the better team. Bottom line, not much analysis or overthinking you got to do with this game. Put your money on Toronto. I don't care where that line goes. Get it at the -10. I love it. Toronto -10. I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is.
I love it. I love it. It's a perfect angle for me when you have a good squad, angry about a loss against a rival in the Bulls, come home against a Rockets team that feels good about themselves, shot lights out, and now they're going to come into Toronto. So for me, I love backing the Raptors to smack early.
Yeah. Well, okay. Why do you say that?
I've made so much money on the Raptors first quarter and first half, especially when somebody's missing and they're coming off a loss. The ACC is going to be, sold out, going bananas, and I just see them take out better teams. I mean, we took out the Cavs when Garland was healthy in the first quarter in that game comfortably. We won that first quarter by 6 points with Garland healthy against the Cavs team that won 8 straight after that without Garland. They're a tough team to play. First quarter, they're well coached. They're so athletic defensively.
They clog the paint, man. I mean, you just have very big defenders that have these huge wingspans that just clogs the paint, man. You know what I'm saying? And you're getting some good run out of Precious. So I don't know how that tempo is going to be. And it could easily be a trifecta. But I just think, if anything, this is one of those things too where I thought the safer play would take the full game rather, because I don't want to know if my play is going to be decided in the first 12 minutes, right? But there's no way that Houston's going to come even close to covering this 10 points.
And it's 1 point higher than I try to limit myself to 2.5 in first quarters. It's at 3.5, but yeah. I just feel like they're going to come out guns a-blazing. One of the things about the Rockets is they keep trying.
They're going to have to shoot on the outside then, right? There's no way they're getting in the paint. So you're going to see a lot of threes being shot right off the bat. And if they get a good rhythm and find those early, then Nurse will make those adjustments. But if they come out and they're not making their threes right off the bat, this game gets ugly, and it gets ugly fast.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I'm going to get involved in the Raps here. I'm trying to stay away from trifectas at this point early in the year, but I want them. I want them, and I want them early.
Probably not Nate.
Yeah, Nate's got no fear, man. Nate's got no fear. No fear at all. And this total going up to 224.5. I wonder what I just want to quickly just take a look at what the Rockets' first half total is, because they got dangerous offensive players, and 54.5 for the Rockets' first half team total.
Yeah, see, that's pretty low, man. That is pretty low. 54.5. So that's maybe that is a trifecta spot. So you're telling me 22.25 points each quarter? I mean, come on, man. Raptors can really hold these boys at 20 points in the first quarter. This could be a trifecta spot.
Ron Crawford, NBA spreadsheet play of the day is the Raptors.
Nice.
-9.5. Nice. So we have I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is. Play of the day combined with Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day. Both
I like it when we're aligned.
Backing the Toronto Raptors. And shout out
JPZ.
Ron Crawford. All right, I'm gonna. Okay, so I'm in. I do not think that the Rockets are going to put up 28 in the first quarter and 27 in the second.
Yeah, that's
65. So,
see, Jimmy, you're making me want to take the trifecta here.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this game.
Okay, I'm not going to move on that, but look out, man! Look out on your Twitter. I just might add the first quarter and first half here.
Cool, man. I love it. All right, we are in business. Let's keep it rolling. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Eastern, New Orleans Pelicans 5-5, 3-4 on the road at Chicago Bulls 6-6, 4-2 at home. We're at United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Pelicans last 5, 2-3, playing at a pace of 100.61 possessions a game. Chicago last 5, 3-2, 99.9 possessions a game. Let's go over to the line history here for Pelly's Bulls. Move over here, and here we go. We have the Pelicans opening up at -2, now -1.5. From a total standpoint, opened up at 229, all the way up now to 232.5. Let's go over to the cash flow for this one. Here we go. 6,166 tickets in. They've given slight line value to the Pelicans. 70% of the tickets, 82% of the cash on the Pelicans. And
wow.
The half point towards
the Bulls.
You have 66% of tickets and 89% cash on the over, and the over is skyrocketing. Talk Sports with JT is on that over 232. Pelicans coming off their second straight loss, 129-122 at the Pacers on Monday night. Probably an angry group. They've lost the first 2 games of this 3-game road trip. So that's an interesting angle that I'm sure cappers believe Pelicans aren't going to go home with nothing. Zion went 26 points, 10 of 15 shooting, 7 boards, 7 assists, 37 minutes. I'm sure people liked seeing that on Saturday night against Atlanta, and then another big game right after it. So, and that was an overtime loss at Atlanta. Bulls snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 111-97 win at home over Toronto on Monday night. Levine's first 30-point game of the season. So he sat out Sunday, played Monday, and they don't have a back-to-back now for almost a month. So he wants to play every night, and he's asked to play every night. And that was a big game from last night. Take it away, 2 nights ago. Take it away for us, Darryl. Pelicans, Bulls.
Pelicans against the Pacers. First quarter, 30 Pelicans, Pacers 32. Pelicans against Atlanta. First quarter, Pelicans 28, Atlanta 29. Pelicans against Golden State. First quarter, Warriors 27, Pelicans 26. Pelicans first quarter against the Lakers. Pelicans 27, Lakers 23. Ready for this? Chicago first quarter against Toronto. Bulls 30, Toronto 27. The game prior against Toronto. Bulls 30, Toronto 21. The game against Boston, mind you, they've lost these 2 games. Bulls 31, Boston 26. Game against Charlotte, first quarter. Hornets 26, Bulls 27. You see a trend here? Pelicans aren't winning first quarter. And even the games that the Bulls are losing, what they're not doing is losing in the first quarter. Give me Chicago Bulls first quarter money line -1.5.
Bulls. You want the money line or the 1.5?
And no, it's at, I'm sorry, at -105.
Okay.
That's where I got it at.
I feel you. I love the breakdown. And these Bulls feel good about themselves. That was a big comeback win. Zach LaVine looking healthy out there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Now remember, the Chicago Bulls are one of the more higher scoring teams in the first quarter, right? And if you look at their spread ATS, they're actually in that top 3, I believe. They did lose that game that I thought they should get against Brooklyn, in which I lost that play. It was 29-27, but they left free throws. They missed some free throws and a crucial 3, which they should have been able to score over that 28.5 points, right? So Pelicans is allowing 28.5 points, and Bulls is right there with scoring just about almost 30 in the first quarter. So even the games that the Bulls are losing, they are winning those first quarters. I do like Chicago Bulls first quarter. I'm going back to the well on this. They're home dogs at that. Give me Chicago Bulls money line first quarter.
And we can get you a plus 105.
Take it. Take it.
All
Take
right.
it. Take it. Take it.
And I wish the Pelicans hadn't lost the first 2 games of this road trip, because I really want to back the Bulls, but I might not be able to. DC Capper says, on my way to the casino before the lines go against me anymore. Mac winning total for tonight. Make yourself some cash. Take Kent State Bowling Green under 55 from DC Capper. We'll be breaking that game down heavy here in just a little bit. Thank you for sharing that with us, DC Capper, on his way to the casino for the Mac game. I've become a fan of Bowling Green, man.
They getting you paid?
Yeah, Leffler and Bowling Green been getting paid all year. I just love when a coach has a plan and you're in year 4 of it and you actually see it come to fruition. I just I love that. T Nice says, amazing angle on the Bulls.
Appreciate you, T Nice. I'm trying, brother. We got to get some money going on here, though. You know what I'm saying? It's this time where I just feel like that I'm turning on the heater and just got to get a little hot. Been cold for a long time, but I felt good about this card today, Jay.
A free $500 bet on the side full game in this one at plus 1.5 for the Bulls. What would you do?
So I believe the injury report does have Herb Jones playing today, right?
Yeah, Herb is supposed to play, so is Zion.
Well, Zion hasn't looked like Zion at all. Like, I'm not even really scared that he's on the court, even though you should always consider that he's out there. He hasn't looked like himself. Man, that's hard. I think full game, I would take the Pelicans, to be honest with you. Full game, I would take the Pelicans. But it's hard. It's really, really hard. Chicago, for what it's worth, man. I mean, you're making them home dogs. You're making them home dogs. Now, maybe it's their ATS record, but at home, Chicago's 4-2. Pelicans are 3-4 on the road. Now, mind you, they are losing on this road trip, so maybe this is a get-right game for the Pels. But they shouldn't be favored. They shouldn't be favored at all, in my opinion. So I do like Chicago first quarter, but maybe because of that angle to where they need a get-right game to get, and Chicago tends to let these games slide later in the game, Pelicans can get them at the end.
Yeah, I like your look. I think I'm rolling with you, Bulls. First quarter, it all sounds very sound capping. I think I'm going to get involved with it. Let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern. Phoenix Suns 7-3, 1-2 on the road at Minnesota Timberwolves. 5-6, 4-4 at home. Target Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Phoenix last 5, 3-2, 95.9 possessions a game, playing slowly. Minnesota last 5, 1-4, 101.8 possessions a game, playing quicker and playing poorly. I wonder though if Chris Paul will be out of the lineup here. Paul dealing with the heel soreness, scored 2 points in 13 minutes in the last game. Last game was atrocious for Phoenix. Both teams coming off horrific games. Let's go to line history first. Minnesota opening up as 2.5-point dogs, now 1-point dogs. From a total standpoint, open up at 225, down to 222.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. 4,224 tickets in, 56% of tickets, 88% of cash on Minnesota. 59% of tickets, 85% of cash on the under. At what point is Minnesota going to play the way people had imagined them when the moves were made this summer? The T-Wolves come in off their fourth loss in 5 games, 120-107 at the Knicks on Monday night. They're 1-2 on this 4-game homestand, but it's much worse than it sounds, 120-107. They allowed 76 points in the first half. We're down by as many as 27. The Suns coming off their second loss in 3 games, 188. The Sixers on Monday night. Devin Booker went for 28. No other Sun player had more than 15. And then Chris Paul with the heel injury and Cam Johnson with undergoing surgery with the torn meniscus. Is this the spot where the Timberwolves bounce back? The market is saying they do, and I kind of want to jump on board with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really don't give a fucking shit about this game. I really don't. Because to your point, I mean, when are we going to see that Minnesota team that everybody thought was just going to be a beast in the offseason? I just really haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet. And Phoenix should come out here and just get the job done, but the line is short, right? Phoenix lost to Philly, but they beat Portland twice. They've already beat Minnesota on the 1st of November, and that game was 116 and 107, right? They're beating good teams. They beat New Orleans. They beat Golden State. They beat Dallas opening night. So this should be a game because we don't know which team in Minnesota shows up that the Suns should kind of run over, even without Chris Paul. What have we always said? Phoenix is a good regular season team, right? They were the winningest team last year in the regular season, where they fall apart. And what you saw just happen to them was an abysmal loss, Game 7 against Dallas, in which we what was they doing? Working out at halftime like they did in the video, So in this game, I didn't want to get involved because it just seems like Phoenix, to me, is too easy, but the line is short. It's short for a reason. So I think this is going to lead people to get over to Phoenix and Minnesota just win this game. I honestly don't have an angle here because I don't know what I'm seeing in Minnesota at all. So it was just a no play for me.
I do have an angle here. This is the final game of a homestand. It's the reason why I'm so hesitant to fade the Pelicans, even though that's a 3-game road trip. It's a totally different situation. The situation here, though, is that this Timberwolves team had high expectations.
They did.
They got absolutely demolished in the first half against the Knicks. This is the final game of a homestand where they can get back to 500 on the year, back to 500 with the homestand, and you got Ayton with the ankle issue. Looks like he's going to play. We don't know how bad it is, but he's going to need his ankle moving. He's going to need to look good. And then you have Chris Paul with the right heel soreness, questionable tonight. So you put that together for me, and I am moving on the Timberwolves. I'm going to back the Minnesota Timberwolves. Timberwolves full game for me. I think that Chris Paul could play here. This isn't Tongue Tied says Gobert coming back today. Let's just go take a quick look at Minnesota's injury report before I sign off on this. But this is, after getting destroyed like that, and now you have one final game of your homestand to step it up. Great to see Razor Sharp picks in the house.
Razor. Yeah. Didn't Razor just get married?
No, but he had his sister had a gender reveal party, and his sister's having a boy.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
I see that. That's a solid brother, man.
Yeah, he's good.
I like that dude. Yeah.
Gobert not on the injury report. He's back. This is a Timberwolves spot for me. And
okay.
I wouldn't even be against a first half full game here.
Wow. Yeah. So you would go Minnesota trifecta?
No, I wouldn't take him first quarter. Or you could take him first quarter full game. Maybe that's the better look, first quarter full game. But I just think that this is a must have. It's a must win at this time of the year. Not for the Suns. And the Suns, is only their 4th game on the road all year. The Timberwolves have played 8 games at home, 8 of 11 games, and they're 5-6 overall on the season.
Do you think, and I would ask everybody in the chat also, do you think, or it could, technically it's still kind of early, right? But from what you're seeing right now, Jay, do you think this Twin Tower version that you're seeing in Minnesota is working?
No, I don't.
And Rudy?
No, I blame Cat for everything. I always have. I put all the blame on Cat's shoulders for not, stepping up and not leading this team. And also he should be center. This move was predicated because of him not stepping up. He's got so much skill. He's such a spectacularly talented basketball player. I blame, and I always have. I've always blamed Cat for everything.
But why would you? Why would you say he's better at the 5? I mean, Gobert is going to be the better rim protector than Cat, right? And we all know that.
But it's because Cat's been such a bitch in his career. He's not. Look, Cat can't play the 5, but it's all on him. He should be the perfect 5 because he's the best big man outside shooter in the league. He's got the size to clog the paint. He should be perfect at the 5, but
Okay.
he's not. You're right. He's
It's just a
totally proven
question.
he's not.
I personally would say yes, it's probably too early to tell. I just don't like what I'm seeing with the up and down of this team.
This is a must win for the Timberwolves coming off getting destroyed in the first half. This is a perfect gambling situation, I believe. So I'm
Okay.
going to be on the Timberwolves first quarter and full
Gotcha.
game, or first half and full game. But I think after we talked about it a little bit more, I'm going to go first quarter and full game. After just getting destroyed so badly early, I think they come out to play early. I like this spot a lot. All right, let's
Best of
move
luck,
on.
brother.
Milwaukee Bucks, Oklahoma City Thunder. Paycom Center, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Milwaukee coming up their first loss of the season. Season opening 9-game winning streak snap, 117-98. A loss at Atlanta on Monday night. Playing at a pace of 101.2 possessions, game over the last 5. Oklahoma City 2-3 over their last 5, 101.29 possessions a game. Thunder coming off their third straight loss, 112-93 at the Pistons on Monday. A real ugly game for them. Let's take a look at the line history here and get rolling. Move over here. We go. The Bucks open up at -7. They're now -6. 1 point move towards the Thunder. From a total standpoint, open up at 219 is now at 218. From a cash flow standpoint here, 6,758 tickets in. 21% of tickets, 22% of cash on the Thunder, and it's moved a point towards them. Then you have 29% of tickets on the under and 49% of cash on that under. And that under's dropped from 219 to 218. And these teams are playing at a faster pace than some of the teams that they're giving us 229 numbers at. So that's interesting. Avocado says, I can see the Thunder make it look ugly. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Bucks Thunder.
So this was, I'm going to make that official. Find the line for me.
Sure.
What's the Bucks line minus in the first quarter?
I will grab it. Well, we're going to do some line shopping for the first quarter right now. The first quarter spread for the Milwaukee Bucks coming in off a loss. You can get -1.5 at -110.
Let's do it. I think that's enough. The last game they played that first quarter was 34-34. It's a high scoring quarter for the Bucks. I just don't see, or for OKC. The game they played against Atlanta, the game that they lost, they actually smacked Atlanta in the first quarter. And that score, I believe, was 36-25. 36-25. So this is one of these games to where you start looking at that trend that the Bucks had last year, and it's kind of continuing, even without Chris Middleton. Give me Bucks first quarter -1.5. I'm stepping on that now.
Yeah, I'm interested in this. And Billy Friedrich saying Bucks 9-1 against spread first quarter. Well,
and that one might have been against OKC, right? So that was just recently. That one loss that they had in the first quarter was against OKC. They're not going to do that shit again. OKC is averaging 28.2 points in the first quarter, and they put it 34. Nah, I'll do that all day. You gave them a little break. They are a little familiar with this team. And when they had played OKC, or when the Bucks had played OKC, if I'm right, it was off a back-to-back. Right? So they played OKC on the 5th. They beat them and covered that spread at 5.5, but they had just played Minnesota the night before. So now that you got a little rest, got a little time to scheme, this is the perfect spot, in my opinion, to where Milwaukee is going to keep us getting paid in that first quarter and possibly first half. Because in the first half, in the second quarter of that first game against OKC, they only allowed OKC to put up 19 points. So this is a first quarter, first half play, maybe even a trifecta here, especially coming off that loss against Atlanta, a game that they should not have lost. But OKC did tie that first quarter with the Bucks off of a back-to-back.
Are you concerned? Trot Lamb in the house says Greek Freak didn't play. Are you concerned about Drew Holiday, the ankle injury, 8 turnovers?
He turned that ankle over, but I do believe you have a little. Was it Carter?
Javon Carter, yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird. He started one of these games, and I was like, wow, this is a weird lineup that Budenholzer have. I think they're going to be all right. I absolutely think they're going to be all right. And to Wham's point, Giannis did not play. He did not play.
Wow, they have him as doubtful. Drew is doubtful. I didn't have.
I think
Drew
he's doubtful till November or something, or till late November. Well, no, just saying doubtful ankle. Yeah,
I didn't.
Giannis is gonna go. You remember that was them messing around with the doggone injury reports with Giannis coming out, right? If I'm right, Giannis was like a late scratch. So it was one of those things to where they were going to see how his knee was feeling at game time or something like that. This is a game that they're going to at least get up for. Those points, it's another huge disparity in points in the first quarter with Milwaukee Bucks. So I do like Milwaukee first quarter, -1.5. That, like I said, the last game was tied 34-34. You're telling me that Milwaukee can't beat this team by 2 points in the first quarter? Highly doubt it.
Bucks first quarter -1.5 for Darryl. This game is tricky. A lot of moving parts. I'm gonna have to sit with it longer. Let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern. Memphis Grizzlies 7-4, 3-3 on the road at the Spurs. 5-6, 2-4 at home. We're AT&T Center at San Antonio, Texas. Memphis last 5, 3-2, playing at a pace of 101.4 possessions a game, while the Spurs last 5, 1-4, 102.2 possessions a game. Grizzlies coming in off that 109-106 loss at home to the Celtics on Monday night. Spurs coming off their fourth straight loss, 115-109 at home to the Nuggets on Monday night. Let's pull up the line history here for the Spurs game. Get this up. Here we go. This opened up with Memphis -6. They're now -5.5. The total opened up
crazy.
233. It's up to 234. From a cash flow standpoint here, we have 5,560 tickets in, 66% of the tickets, 79% of the cash on the Grizzlies. There's a few spots like this on the board where the money's on one side and the books are making it easier for you to bet them.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have 34% of tickets, 58% of cash on the under, 34 and 58. So it feels like some sharp cash on this under, but it's gone from 233 to 234. Take it away for us, Darryl.
I don't want to play this game. I don't give a shit about this game. This game is scary. This one is scary to me because I don't see how bets can be so lopsided, but this line actually moves down a hook in San Antonio's favor. Now, maybe this is the news of maybe Steven Adams possibly not playing. Right? But I don't want any action in this game. Technically, and we're saying technically a lot, Grizzlies should go out here and smack these shit out of San Antonio. Should smack these shit out of San Antonio. But San Antonio's better away than they are home. And Memphis is better home than they are away. So this is it's another team. And I really, Grizzlies should be an automatic play. Right. But we're seeing that the pieces that they've lost last year shows that they really helped this team. That this would be considered those glue guys, your Kyle Andersons, right? These guys here are your glue guys that kind of solidify the squad. I don't want to play the Grizzlies right now, even though they are the better team and should smack these boys. But San Antonio, man, has been winning games. They've been winning games, man. You would think this is the other tank team that's in the Wembanyama sweepstakes. But they're 5-6. They can easily go at 500 here. I don't want to play this game. I don't have really much a strong angle on this game, though. And I don't understand why the line is moved down. I don't.
Yeah, it's it is tricky. I mean, all right, yeah. Mike says none of it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. So embrace the insanity. Thank you. It's well put, Mike. It's well put. Let's move on to the Battle of Los Angeles, 10 p.m. Eastern. Look, I cashed on the Lakers' last win.
What are we doing here?
It was a while ago.
Come on, man.
Look, John Wall coming back. These two teams have so many issues going on right now. It's extremely enjoyable for us outsiders to watch. Lakers 2-8, 0-4 on the road. Clippers 6-5, 2-3 at home. Crypto.com Arena, Los Angeles, California. Lakers last 5 playing at a pace of 101.19 possessions a game, while the Clips playing at 99.2 possessions a game. Lakers coming off their third straight loss, 139-116 of the Jazz on Monday night. They look bad. Clippers coming off their fourth win in 5 games, 119-117 at home versus the Cavs. 13-point fourth quarter deficit. I mean, that was impressive. John Wall going to be in the lineup here. Let's take a look at the line history for Clippers Lakers before we hand it off to Darryl. And I love watching LA Cappers talk about the Lakers. Clippers open up, and we've seen this so often this year. Lakers open up plus 5.5, now at plus 3. I imagine I'm going to see that the Sharps are on the Lakers here. From a total standpoint, open up at 221, now at 219.5. Let's see where the cash is for Lakers Clippers. Just 3,656 tickets in. Gone are the days when Lakers games are, exciting for everybody.
Whatever, Jimmy. Whatever.
44% of the tickets on the Lakers, 60% of the cash. So the Sharps are on the Lakers. 75% of tickets, 77% cash on the under. And that
I don't understand.
From 221 to 219.5.
I don't understand, Bray. I don't want to talk about this fucking game, man. This is torture at this point. Jimmy, what is Russ's points? Because I didn't see a number for his points.
Let's pull it up here. Maybe it was just so low you didn't notice it.
Whoa.
But let's get it up here. Let's get Russell Westbrook points up here. Move over here. And not being offered.
That's what I thought.
Not being offered.
I don't like that. He gave you 22 against Utah. He gave you 19 against Cleveland. They play Utah again. They lost both those games. And he gives you 26. Russ coming off the bench is a good thing. Him coming off the bench is a good thing. There's no fucking way you could pay me to touch this game right now. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But if you could find a point total for Russell, I would probably step all on it right now. If it's anything in the 13, 14 point range, I would step it and play the over. If anybody has points for Russell, let me know, because I haven't seen them.
JPZ, LA Capper, he on Clippers first quarter.
Hey, more power to you, man. More power to you. Why did this line go down? I'm baffled by this shit. I'm baffled by this. There's no way in hell that you can get me to put money on the Clippers, and there's no way in hell's hell that you can get me to put money on the Lakers.
Jeez,
right?
How the hell?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. If this team was on fire, man, both of them, I wouldn't piss on them.
Coin, it definitely tells a story. Coin saying LA plus 3 here, 44% ticket, 60% cash line is moved from 4.5 to 3 or more, 5.5 to 3 at Pinnacle. It tells a story. It tells a story that the Lakers are the side if you can bet it.
Man,
it's not easy.
If you I'm just gonna stay off. Hey, excuse me while I'm over here minding my own fucking business. Best of luck to y'all on that, man. I'll just be in the corner minding my goddamn business because I am not touching this game at all.
No, I had the Lakers against the Pelicans, and it wasn't easy. All right, nothing on Russ at FanDuel. Jake Burns says he's going to bet women's college basketball before betting this game.
There you go.
All right, but in closing, the Sharps are on the Lakers here.
Yeah, fuck the Sharps, man. I don't care. That's not going to motivate me to pick the Lakers right now. You got your goddamn mind. No way.
Andrew G is his new nickname for Kawhi. It's Kawheelchair. Kawheelchair is nice.
Finessing, man. Finesse at its finest, bro.
Kawheelchair is nice, Andrew. I like it. Good work. Good, solid work. All right. Andrew G says must be the Lakers. Or he was trying to say Luckies. That potato treat. I'm not sure. Let's move on to 10 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Cavaliers, final game on the card. Darryl, it's been so much fun capping this huge card with you, my man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for joining us. Cavs 8-2, 4-2 on the road at the Kings 3-6, 1-3 home at Golden One Center, Sacramento, California. Cleveland last 5, 4-1, 98.74 possessions a game, while Sacramento last 5, 3-2, 100.8 possessions a game. Cavs had their 8-game winning streak snapped in that loss at the Clippers on Monday night. Kings coming off their second loss in 3 games, 116-113 at the Warriors on Monday night. And shout out Dav Fenn, who wiped away all my losing live bets on the Monday Nighter by giving me the Warriors plus 170 money line. Very enjoyable, and I thank you, Dav Fenn. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one. Cleveland, Sacramento. We have Sacramento opening up as 4.5-point dogs. No movement. Has not moved. Actually, there was a bit of time where it was at 5. So I take that back. 4.5 to 5, back to 4.5. From a total side of things, it opened up at 225.5, now at 226.5. Take a look at the cash flow here. The only game on the entire board where Sports Insights has given us full line value on a team, it's on the Sacramento Kings. 26% of the tickets, 31% of the cash on the Kings. 56% of the tickets, 89% of the cash on the over. There's DJ Big Boss in the house. What up, boss?
Big Boss. What up, brother? What up?
I've missed DJ Big Boss very much. He's beloved here on the show, as you can imagine. Absolutely beloved DJ Big Boss in the house. Let's get to work here. What do you think of this move on the over? And it's gone up a point, so it doesn't look too much fair, or a move with the sharp money on the Sacramento Kings.
Cleveland 6-4 to the over. Sacramento 3-6 to the over. Right? This should be a get right game for Cleveland. It's either Cleveland or nothing for me. This is another team that does pretty well in the first quarter and first half. This line is kind of set, so I don't know if people are just off this game or if the books just have it just right. I would be more inclined to take Cleveland, provided they didn't lose against the goddamn Clippers. They lose against Clippers. Now, mind you, it's a 2-point game that did go over, but their game went under against the Lakers. Their game went under against Detroit. Their game went under against Orlando. So it seems like these games go under with shitty teams. And I don't know if we're going to call Sacramento a shitty team, but they are 3-6. They've got one more win than the Lakers. Right? So, but they've got some good players over there. I'm a big fan of Domas. Tell me this. What is Cleveland's team total for this game?
Let's go check it out. Cleveland team total. It's amazing that, I mean, the totals are so high and the team's paces have been so mediocre over the last 5 games. Cleveland playing at 98.74 possessions a game, more than likely are going to be dictating the pace in this game, and you're going to hand a 226.5 up. That's not something I want to be involved with. Let's grab you the team total here right now for the Cavs. It's 115.5.
Yeah, I don't want to touch it. I was just looking at their total for it. You know, one of these days we got to start looking at these under team totals, right? And so they're averaging 59.1 points per half, and the line is 59.5 team total points for Cleveland first quarter. I'm almost inclined to take the under here, but I don't want to touch this game. This one should be if we're just looking at it at face value, Cleveland should go in here and just smack the shit out of them. But this line is low, and it hasn't moved. Really not that much movement, if you will. Or obvious movement that shows you that this is lopsided. So this is a game I don't want to play, but I do like Cleveland. Cleveland beats bad teams, even though they did lose against the Clippers. I don't like that they lost against the Clippers. I know there's a lot of moving parts to that, the reason why they did. But Cleveland is the better team. You got to look at Donovan Mitchell points, because nobody's stopping Donovan right now, right? I think he's another player that's averaging 30 a game on the season right now. So if he's around the 27, 28 points, make that shit go. So this is another game that I was looking at, but I kind of thought, okay, let me fall back really and stop looking at just taking the over on these team totals. 4.5. We thought we would get there against the Clippers easily, and that didn't happen. So I'm going to wait to see what Cleveland does. If they have a bounce back game here, then this would be a good spot until we also start looking at Cleveland overall. So for right now, no play for me.
Yeah, I mean,
why do you think that total's low?
it's just because the last 5 games, neither team's playing with much pace. You're going to need a really strong shooting game from both teams to get to that number. They're not playing fast enough.
Well, Cleveland can get to that number.
In the beginning of the season, we saw some really high-scoring games. We also saw 10 teams playing over 103 possessions a game. Right now, over the last 5 games, not one team in the league is playing over 102 possessions a game. Mm-hmm. Everybody's slowed down after that free-for-all in the first 5 or 6 games of the year.
Mm-hmm. I'm with it. This is going to probably be a late play for me. And I mean, it just seems like Cleveland should get out here and get it done. Honestly, it really does. And I mean, they're on they're still in California. I mean, you're talking about like a 2-hour flight from LA to Sac. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like it's much traveling. They're still in state. So you had that day to rest. You do want to have a game where you bounce back. I mean, they have one of the better league records of the season or of the league being 8-2. I mean, 8-2, man. 8-2 and 8-2 ATS. Cleveland should be the lock here and should be the play. I just don't like how low that number is. And to your point, the pace of play makes a lot of sense. You got to add that to the equation.
Mike says Jimmy should do some live NBA in college, kick it up a notch. That's happening. We are moving in that direction, especially when the football season ends. But even before that, this Friday, Dabby Cab, Razor Sharp Picks, live bet stream, Gonzaga, Michigan State right here.
Oh, nice.
And they're going to be doing NBA, I think, the following week after that, the following Friday after that. So, and I'm going to get involved too. So that, I promise you, Mike, that's going to happen. We all want to live bet NBA. It's probably the best sport to bet live. So we all want to get involved. Let's review all action here. I'm waiting on the Magic. It's 7.5 right across the board right there. Dav Fenn, by the way, saying, Darryl, you're talking yourself into the Cavs. Do it.
I know. You're right. Whoever said that. Yeah. I mean, goddamn. Let me just look at some more numbers on here. But, yeah, I mean, Cleveland should be the spot. I just don't like that they lost.
Darryl starts his card off with the Blazers team total over 112.5 at plus 105. He's on the Nuggets first quarter -2 at minus 105. I have interest in the Pacers. I have great interest in the Pacers. I think I probably move on them. Jazz Hawks, that's full game though, not going up against the Nuggets first quarter yet.
Right.
The Jazz Hawks, no action for us.
Hell no. Nah.
Pistons Celtics, no action for us.
Hell no. Nah.
Darryl moves on the Knicks first half at plus 1.5. JPZ want to rock with us live NBA. Love that, JPZ, for sure, for real, definitely. Knicks first half plus 1.5 minus 103 for Darryl. Then NBA spreadsheet play of the day Raptors. Darryl is on the Raptors -10. I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is.
I don't give a motherfucking shit.
Play of the day at -10 at minus 106. I want in. I want in on the Raptors. First quarter, first half, and first half team total under 54.5 for the Rockets is what I think I want to roll in. Then Darryl is on the Bulls first quarter at plus 105. I have many asterisks besides it. I'm very interested in it. I'm moving on the Timberwolves first quarter, full game. I'm moving on the Wolves, back in the Wolves. Darryl's on the Bucks first quarter -1.5. We stayed off of Grizzlies, Spurs, Lakers, Clippers, and Cavs, Kings, but there might be a Cavs look from Darryl. Nunya says, wait, when's the live show? Well, we're going to have a playlist now on our homepage that will show every live bet stream that we're going to have, including UFC, including all sports. But right now, the next live basketball bet stream is Gonzaga, Michigan State this Friday. And then there will be NBA a week after that. And those Fridays are hosted by Dabby Cab and Razor Sharp Picks right here on Pub Sports Radio. Darryl, love capping with you. What a beast of a card we had to break down, man. That was a lot of work and very enjoyable. I'm looking forward to see you turn the tables and start winning, just like you did all of last year. So the sample size is too low, and sometimes it's good to get a slap in the face. So
Yeah, it is humbling, very humbling.
humbling. Yeah, we love you, man. Follow our guy Daryl
Appreciate
on
you.
Twitter at It's Daryl. Any last words for the Cappers supporting the show before we get into college football?
Best of luck with all of your action, man. If you're getting money, make sure you keep getting money. Jimmy, I appreciate you as always, man. It is a pleasure, bro, to be on this platform with you and everybody in the chat. I really appreciate you. You guys keep me humbled. You guys keep me wanting to work and grind harder, and I will see you around.
Oh, we love him. There he is, coming to us from Los Angeles, California. It's Daryl in the house. All right, let's move on to college football. We've been running really, really strong. Our quantity of action has gone down, but to be hitting over 60% against the spread and with totals right now is this deep in season is impressive. And let's get to work. NCAA football, 7 p.m. Eastern. Northern Illinois Huskies, 2-7, 1-4 in the MAC at the Western Michigan Broncos, 3-6, 2-3 in the MAC. We're at Waldo Stadium in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Let's start with D-line history and then get into the cash flow and then break down how we expect this game to bang out. And by doing that, we've been crushing. So let's just get right to work here for this one. All three games start at 7 tonight. We're going to go over to Northern Illinois, Western Michigan to get this popping off, get over the line history, and let's go. So this opened up with Northern Illinois -1. We talked last week about how tricky it is to figure out who's going to be a quarterback in Northern Illinois. And sure enough, it was Nevin Cremascoli, which was absolutely mind-boggling. We talked about Rocky Lombardi, and last week I'd gone into the school reports and the school newspapers, and they were all saying that Rocky Lombardi had come back to save the season and then didn't play 2 weeks ago and then didn't play last week. And it was their fourth-string quarterback that came in, was 13 for 33 for 158 yards. You know, both of these teams have started 4 different quarterbacks. And I don't know if you guys watched Trayson Bourget, but I think he's the better quarterback on the field tonight. If it's Bourget versus Cremascoli, which we think it will be at this point. But it adds so many levels of trickiness in the cap. Northern Illinois opening up at -1 and -110. They're now -1 and -108. We move over to the total, opening up at 51.5 and is dropped to 49. Sterling Gentry is on Western Michigan. So let's move over to the cash flow here. And this is what has been so important for us. It moved us over to Southern Miss against Louisiana. That was such an easy casher. Follow the money. 56% of the tickets on Western Michigan and 69% of the cash is on Western Michigan, but we haven't seen a real market move towards them. But as I said, I watched Bourget pretty close, and he plays a pretty clean football game. Doesn't take risks. And the big problem they were having earlier in the year was turnovers at quarterback. And we'll get into more of that. 57% of tickets, 69% of cash on the under. So let's go over and quickly grab the weather. Stimmy OG is on Northern Illinois. Let's get this weather going to see if that has anything to do with the Kalamazoo move to the under. Kalamazoo weather. Here we go. So is the rain coming? No, it's a nice weather today. Low wind and actually pretty warm. And it gets really warm tomorrow for the college football games. And then it gets freezing this weekend. We're going to see snow all over the place. So again, a quick review of where the cash is. The cash is on the under and the cash is on the Broncos. Those are the bigger bets, not public, but bigger bets. Both teams are sitting 3-6 overall, 2-3 in MAC play, but I don't know if that's true. I've got the Huskies 2-7, 1-4 in MAC play. Wonder if I did that wrong. So whoever loses this game is done. The winner of this game has a chance to be a bowl eligible. NIU comes off their second straight loss, 35-32 at Central Michigan. the defending MAC champs. I feel like they've just given up on the year and they're testing out spots and players for next year. They were 6-2 in conference last year, 9-5 overall. Now they have Harrison Whaley. So he's a beast. They're second in the MAC in rushing. But Rocky Lombardi came back and he went down with a leg injury, missed a bunch of games, came back. I don't know why he's not been back. He was replaced by Ethan Hampton, who got hurt. Then Justin Lynch came in and was terrible. Now Cremascoli gets the call. This is a true freshman. Western Michigan on the other side comes in off that 13-9 loss at Bowling Green. I was on Western Michigan's team total under, but I think Bowling Green is a good defense, and I was impressed enough with Western Michigan, who've been bad at home all year, 1-3 at Waldo. They're number one against the run in conference. Number one in conference against the run, and that's the only thing the Huskies can do to you. That's it, is they can run the ball at you. You have a team that's allowing just 119.6 rush yards per game in conference. So their offense has been horrible, but Jack Salopek was so bad, and Trayson Bourget, I really think, is decent. And if you go back to high school, Bourget was a pretty highly thought of quarterback, and he went to a big school at first before coming over to a spot where he thought he could play. So Salopek, 10 interceptions, was terrible. You have Sean Tyler in the backfield, 622 rushing yards. If you remember when we had our breakdown last week, I wondered if Lester's call cutting Ladarius Jefferson or suspending him indefinitely would affect this team. It didn't really look like it did. So with all that being said, and I hate being on the other side of Stimmy, but after watching these quarterbacks closely, Bourget's the better quarterback. And what can Western Michigan do? Defend the run. And what can Western Michigan do here to finish off the season is get a bowl game. And I see Northern Illinois Huskies giving up. The only thing that I'm not seeing here is a move towards Western Michigan. There was one. This opened up money line with Northern Illinois minus 119 and Western Michigan minus 101. Now, then Western Michigan went up to minus 118. Now it's coming back on Northern Illinois. I wonder if there is some vividness bias of what the Huskies were last year, because that's not who they are this year. So I want Western Michigan. And I wonder, let's just take a look back at this total here quickly. See if there's going to be any double dipping, or do we feel like we've lost it? Maybe we have. Opened up at 51.5, has dropped down to 49.5. If that's the case, let's go to the Huskies team total. So this worked for me in the Bowling Green Western Michigan game. The Sharps were on Western Michigan, and it was the first bet I've made in a month where I went against the Sharps. And I got Bowling Green minus 5, and they won by 4. But I also took Western Michigan team total under, and so I only lost a little bit of juice. I think I'd like to do that here. I know, obviously, it puts you in a spot where you can, lose both. But the team total for is 24.5 for Northern Illinois. Look, I don't think they get there. So I'm making 2 bets here in this game. I am going to be on Western Michigan, and I'm going to be on NIU team total under. And we're locked in. Let's go. Western Michigan minus 1 and the team total under for NIU. We move on to game 2. Game 2, 7 p.m. Eastern. Buffalo Bulls 5-4, 4-1 in the conference at Central Michigan Chippewas, 3-6, 2-3 in the conference. We're in Mount Pleasant for this one. The Bulls coming in off having their 5-game winning streak snapped in a 45-24 loss at Ohio. The Sharps were all over Ohio in that game, and they took care of business. So let's see what's going on here before we break down the spot. Mike M says that feels like you just told my taint, taking the under team total. That was the only spot I like for NIU. That makes me. It's okay. It's okay, Mike. Look, we're banging this out together. Nanya says, I really think NIU could run the ball well tonight. Oh, they're going to have to. But again, we have to rely on the stats that's been compiled at this point in the year. And Western Michigan's number one against the spread, against the run in the MAC. So, all right, let's move over to Bulls, Chippewas for the next one here. Bulls, Chippewas. We're going to start with the line history. And here we go. This is the second game in a row where the Sharps are fading this Bulls squad that came into last week's game 6-1-1 against the spread. They lose to Ohio, and now they're going up against the Chippewas team, and the Chips move from -1 to -2.5. That's wild. From a totals perspective, it's moved from 55 to 53.5. Let's move over to the cash flow here in this one. They've given Central Michigan 40% line value at Sports Insights, 9,205 tickets in, and the big bets are all over Central Michigan. 52% of the tickets, 78% of cash. Then you have 74% of tickets, 85% cash on the over, which is tricky because it's dropped 1.5 points. So as I said, Bulls are battling for a chance to get to this conference championship game. The loss at Ohio created a 3-way tie atop the East, and my Falcons are involved in that. And they couldn't stop the Bobcats. That was the problem. And all of a sudden, Buffalo couldn't move the ball. I mean, it was pretty wild to see this Buffalo offense that's been so good hit 3.4 yards per play. The Bulls averaged 185.4 rushing yards per game in their wins and 87 in their losses. You know what they did against Ohio? 22. They had 22 yards on the ground on 28 carries. You have Washington and Cook Jr., who are combined running for over 1,000 yards. And these Chips are very good defensively against the run in conference. Kent Davies saying Buffalo might be waiting till Akron next week to get that bowl eligibility. Raymond Reichart leaning Buffalo. Officer of 50, my guy Robert Cherry says Western team total over Buffalo moneyline, Bowling Green moneyline. Andrew G looking at the Buffalo Bulls. Okay, so let's hammer this more. The Chips come in off their second win in 3 games. That was nice. 35-22 win at NIU last week. It was impressive. They did that while turning the ball over 4 times with 3 fumbles. Still rushed for 245 yards. We know what Lou Nichols does. He led the whole country last year. And this year he's not having a good season. And it's because of the offensive line. So they're all talking about nickel ball security, but it's the weakness of the offensive line that's clearly putting him in tough spots. The Chips have the best defense in the conference in yards allowed per game. Not points, but yards allowed per game. Allowing 331 yards per game. The reason why they don't in points is because of all of their turnovers. If you believe that the turnovers were a fluke, then you would definitely be like back in the Chips here. But if you think the turnovers are happening, 3 fumbles are happening because of the weakness of the offensive line, and that's why Lou Nichols can't get the job done, then maybe you'd have some concern backing Central Michigan, and maybe you'd have some concern after how bad the Bulls played that maybe they step up here. Now, remember, it was on the road last week that the Bulls got destroyed. Will it happen here again? Creekman is on the Bulls and the over. So, Daniel Richardson, there was a point this year where we thought he was going to lose his starting job just like 3 weeks ago. And he's been very good since. Very good since. And they lost their tight end, Joel Wilson. You know, I see that by the way, it's not just their tight end. 6 touchdown catches, Joel Wilson. He's done for the season. I guess I can't bet Central Michigan. I think there's a reason why Lou Nichols is having such a rough season. And it's not because he's gone backwards as a running back. And they lost their tight end, and he's a playmaker in the red zone. And everybody saw the Bulls play so bad last week. And I don't want to go up against the Sharps. I don't want to go up against the big bets on Central Michigan. So what's up, Alex Hills? A coin says Buffalo, the team with a better record, line moving against them and continuing to do so. They open -2.5 now. They now catching +2.5. Why don't we see somewhere else? Because this always opened at Pinnacle with Central Michigan as the favorite. But why don't we see a spot like Bet Online, who would have got this line out early? Bet Online opened this up as a pick'em. So maybe there's more reason why the Bulls looked so bad last week. But if my capping is correlated to where the sharp money is, I'll pull the trigger. And this time I can't say it is. So clearly the move towards, Raymond Reichart, the Central Michigan's the sharp side here. It's a 50-50 tickets, but 78% of the cash on Central Michigan. Sports Insights giving Central Michigan value. I'm not moving on this one. And also the total is confusing because there's all these bets on the over, and then the market has dropped 1.5 on the under. So this one turns out to be a no move here. But let's move on to the next game and the final one here on our show today. We already had DC Capper come in and give us the winner. He's on the under 55 in Kent State Bowling Green. Kent State's a very different team than they were last year, and even a different team than they were from the beginning of the season. We're at Doyd L. Perry Stadium in Bowling Green, Ohio for this one. Kent State 3-6, 2-3 in the conference. Bowling Green Falcons 5-4, 4-1 in conference. Let's go to the line history in this one. We have Bowling Green opening up at +2.5. They're still at +2.5, but that got up to -115. That got up to -115 this morning. So there has been a 10-cent move towards Bowling Green at the line at +2.5. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 57.5 and has dropped to 55. Let's see what the cash has to say about this spot here. 9,305 tickets in. They've given line value to Bowling Green. 53% of the tickets, 53% of the cash on Bowling Green. Then 70% of the tickets, 81% cash on the under. Caleb Bilby is on Buffalo money line. And Matty Ice is playing Bowling Green and the under 60.5 at +220. Daniel Sun saying that it is a senior night here at Bowling Green. And why is Bowling Green underdogs? Look at that. Bowling Green +2.5. Bowling Green money line large for Matty Ice. Wow. All right. So we know that the side is, there's no real help where big bets or sharp money is, except for the under. We know it's there. Kent State comes in off their second loss in 3 games, 27-20 at home versus Ball State last week. This was a team that was expected to win the MAC East. Now they have to win out. They've been bad. So if they can beat Bowling Green, they play Eastern Michigan at home, and then they would play Buffalo on November 26th with a chance for a bowl appearance if they win here. So this team can score still. And Colin Schlee their quarterback missed the October 22nd game against Akron. Came back to throw for 183 yards against Ball State. We don't know if he's healthy right now. There's questions about whether he is healthy. In conference, the Golden Flash are 6.1 yards per play and 5th in scoring at 29.6 points per game. Schlee's had a good year, and he's a dual threat. Got Dante Cephas, who did not play in last week's loss to Ball State, and they lost their number 2 receiver, Devontae Walker. They lose both of their best receivers with a quarterback who just came back from an injury. Now they have a running game. Marquez Cooper is a beast. He's rushed for 1,000 yards this year. Bowling Green comes in off their third straight win, 13-9 at home over Western Michigan. I've talked about what Leffler's done. It's been very impressive. They need one win for a bowl game. They have a really strong defense. In conference, they're holding teams to 5.3 yards per play and 21.2 points per game. We've talked about Carl Brooks on this show already. He's just a monster, just a sack machine. Their offense plays clean football. That's what Matt McDonald does. 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He plays clean football. And, that's all you can ask for if you have a defense that you trust. And Bowling Green trusts their defense. Matty Ice says, senior night, first place division, and they're just flat out playing way better than Kent State. Danielson saying both wide receivers are questionable. And in conference, Kent State is, allows a lot of running yards, and that's what Bowling Green can hurt you. And overall, they're not a very good defense. But in the beginning of the year, if you had said that we'd be here with Bowling Green as just 2.5-point dogs, we'd be shocked. And why? Why would the market not be moving towards Bowling Green? I don't know. I would think that there would be a move towards Bowling Green. I wonder why there hasn't been. Let's just go to a different book. Let's go to Bet Online. Bet Online opening up at 2. Bowling Green got up to 2.5. Why would the early sharp money be on Kent State? These are questions that I can't answer. And if I can't answer them, I just can't put my money on them. But I can trust that Kent State is missing 2 receivers. We expect. Some would call them questionable. We can trust that Bowling Green's defense can slow down Kent State and that Bowling Green just plays clean football. They don't try to put up huge, huge numbers. So I am going to move on the pimp slot play of the day that Mike M's on. I think the under is the right look. And that way I can have my money on the under. I can cheer on Matty Ice. And in a situation where you have a 3-6 football team. Now, I know they had a really tough out of conference schedule, but 2-3 in the MAC comes into a Bowling Green Falcons team on senior night that's 4-1 in the conference and all this stuff, and the line's not moving off of Bowling Green being a home dog. Why? Officer of 50, Yashala says, just got my equipment, podcast dropping soon. I love that. Respect. Mike M says Vegas likes to confuse us. I think sometimes I agree. But for me, I'm comfortable just being on the under here. All right, so that is my college football action today. I'm on Western Michigan. I'll take the -1. I want the VIG down. I don't need the money line this one. I'll take Northern Illinois Huskies team total under. And I will bet the under 55 in Kent State, Bowling Green, my 3 college football games. In NHL, I'm going to have to go over the Hurricanes as a side and the Penguins. And remember, I need to know if Dmitry Orlov and John Carlson are in. If they're out, I'm going to bet the Penguins. If they're in, I'm not going to. So then in NBA. Oh, by the way, taint play of the day is Marist -1.5 in college basketball. And college basketball is going to be creeping on the show. Don't worry about that. So we'll cap our first games tomorrow. But Marist -1.5 is the taint play of the day. Let's move over here. And shout out to our guy, Matty Ice. Moving on, Marist as the taint play of the day. What a guy. I apologize for my son crying in the background, but that's a good way to close it up. Have my son screaming, bounce out. Daniel's son says, what's your strongest play today? Well, it's certainly not in NHL. I would say that my strongest play of the day is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota Timberwolves full game is my strongest play of the day. That's what I believe. My strongest play of the day. And we've already reviewed NBA, so we don't need to hit that again. There you go. Nunya, Monmouth plus 20.5 for Seton Hall. That's personal taint from Nunya. Respect. I will copy and paste that. And Matty Ice, 11-3 start to the NCAA season. By the way, those of you guys who are sort of new to rolling with us and have watched how incredible the taint play of the day is, this is his best sport, college basketball. And I remember back in my SBR days, I knew guys who were paying their mortgage through Matty Ice's taint plays of the day. So thank you guys so much for supporting us here on the show. This was a long one. This was a battle. We have another battle to fight tomorrow. Very excited about it. Mr. Gokster will be joining us. We're going to have a huge NHL card that will open up the show. So remember, that's how we're always going to do it. So if you guys don't care for NHL, just join the show a little bit after the opening, 30 minutes in or whatever, and that's when you'll get everything. We're going to go NHL, NFL. That'll be the first two things. Then we'll probably go NCAA football, NBA, NCAA basketball. That's probably how we'll handle things. Mike says he's famished. Let's eat. Creekman, I love you. Kent Davies, my man. Thank you guys all so much for your support. Daniel Son, Ron Crawford, Officer of 50, Ayashi Allah, Nunya, Coin, Jake Burns, Caleb Bilby. I went to school with Matt Bilby. Great guy. A good baseball player, too. Matty Bilby up at York University. Brian Watson. Thank you, guys. Thank you all. Fanatical Jim. Mike M. Nasty Nate. Raymond Reichert. Thank you. Now let's go Andrew G. James S. Now let's go out there and get that fucking money. Sterling Gentry. Joe Chris. Stimmy OG. Let's go out there and get that fucking monies. Big shout out to my producer, Jose Bouquet. Thank you for the great work. But most importantly, Leche. Halo Sports.